Good evening and welcome to the latest episode of Eyes Up Mother Brown. Tonight, it is West Ham United v Watford. It is winner takes all. Well, kind of. Whoever wins tonight will be 6 points clear of the relegation zone and almost assured of safety and a place in the Premier League next year. Will it be West Ham? Will it be Watford? We're going to find out very, very shortly. Before we do that, I'm going to pass you over to my colleague, Gnome, who is going to take us through the teams. Gnome, take it away, please, buddy.
Good evening, everybody. Big news for West Ham is the inclusion of Ben Johnson wearing the coveted number 53 shirt. He comes in place of Ryan Fredericks, who's got a calf injury, I believe. That's the one change to the team that beat Norwich at the weekend. So we line up with Fabianski, Johnson, Diop, Ogbonna, Cresswell, Rice, Souček, Bowen, Noble, who's making his 500th appearance, of course, Fornals and Antonio. On the bench, we have Balbuena, Yarmolenko, a return for Felipe Anderson, Lanzini, Wilshere, Haller, Masuaku, Randolph and Coventry. For Watford, their big news is that, rather unsurprisingly, Deeney's knee injury isn't sufficient to keep him out. He plays. They line up Foster, Firmino, Kabasele, Dawson, Messina, Cleverley, Hughes, Sarr, Doucouré, Welbeck and Deeney.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Gnome. We are just a minute or two away from the beginning of tonight's game. Apologies that we're a little bit late than we had hoped before coming on here. But we've made it for kickoff anyway. I'm going to quickly go around the team just to get everybody's thoughts before we start. Briz, I'll start with you, buddy. How do you see it going tonight? What have West Ham got to do to take 3 points?
I still think 2-1 to us. I think it's going to be the battle between Sarr and Cresswell tonight. But I think we'll take it.
Excellent. Good. Rio, good evening, buddy. How you doing?
Okay, thank you, mate.
Good to see you again. You have this down as a 1-1 draw. Have you changed your view on that at all? Or do you still see each side taking a point?
No, I still see a 1-1, although Pinky the other night convinced me that virtually to change to a defeat. But I'm keeping on the more positive side. And just to track to the forum quickly, Plaster Royan is a bag of nerves. We'll join the Poxy Club.
There's going to be a lot of those about tonight, no doubt. No, have you got a load of nerves? Have you got the butterflies in your belly ahead of this one?
Yep.
Good stuff.
I get it before every game, though, to be honest. But this one especially. I think we'll win. I think it'll be 2-1, but I won't be happy until that final whistle goes and that's in the bag. It's just one of those things. So West Ham not to do well when Watford aren't the greatest of teams, and we should be able to beat them. But it's that mental thing.
We shall see. Well, we shall see what happens. Finally, Pinky, how are you doing, buddy? Good to see you again.
Evening all, yeah. And can I just say, not too worried about tonight's game at all. Tonight for me is about one thing: the 500th appearance for West Ham United by Mark Noble. That is a stunning achievement, and say what you like, we'll probably not see the likes of it ever again. And when he made his debut for West Ham United, he was the 748th player to represent us. Can you name the 207 players that have followed him? Because that's how long he has been heading up our team. 207 other players have made their debuts since Noble. That's no mean feat, I tell you.
That's not at all. And I'd wager that Hunter, we're just seeing actually Watford, we're 13 seconds in, and Sarr has gone through for Watford, but with a poor touch, it's gone out into gone out into touch for a
West Ham. Do a time check, guys, by the way.
I'm 25.
I'm 55, 56.
58, 59, 60.
Yep, I'm with yous.
Good. It looks like you guys are going to be leading tonight. You know the score. If anything major happens, just jump in as usual and let everybody know. Mark Noble is, of course, 10th already on West Ham United's record appearance list. How many I'm sure we can name the other 9 between us, can't we? Breeze, how many can you pick out the 9 above Noble?
Brooklyn.
Number 1.
Cross.
Not Crossy.
Alvin Martin.
Alvin Martin. I'll give you those two. I'll go across to Pinky. We've got two there. How many more can you name, buddy? Can you reel them off? Yep,
Potts.
Hursty 504.
Yeah, Potts.
Potsy, of course, Rio's man, 505.
And of course, the main man, the man no one will ever go past, Billy Bonds. There you
Billy
go.
Bonds with 799 first team appearances. Pinky, do you
From
know who's second behind him?
Sorry, I was just
Oh,
going straight to the game
Frank
with that.
Lampard Senior.
That's the one. Well done, Pinky. Frank Lampard, yeah, 670. Probably a little bit out of range of Mark Noble, even though David Moyes did mention, of course, earlier in the week that he felt he could go on to play 700 games in his career. Not sure if he means here or over for the Dog and Duck.
If he catches the great Alvin Martin, that would be a great achievement, I'll tell you. I don't think he will, but you know what? That would be a target to aim for my money. I think he's been a smashing player for West Ham United, and people will tell you he hasn't got pace, he hasn't got this, he hasn't got that. Tell you what he has got is the right attitude, because every single game he's played for West Ham United, he's given all he's got, whatever it is. Fabulous player for us. Terrific.
Great stuff. And a fantastic tribute, if I may say so, from Mr. Palermo for our skipper tonight. Of course, he's likely... Go on, Gnome.
Fornals has gone down the left, overhit the cross. I think Bowen's just coming up to try. Souček is just coming up to try and rescue it. So we've still got an attack. Johnson's forced a throw in, basically. The cross was blocked. But
Ben Johnson tonight making his debut. Are we expecting much from him tonight? Bit of a surprise call into the team, really.
It's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? He's had no experience hardly, apart from the City game with it last February. His only ever appearance.
Of course he did, didn't he? Yeah, you're right.
Just, I pray the boy does really well, you know. And after everything that happened with Ngakia, he's got a little bit of responsibility on his shoulders, because we know how brittle that Fredericks is, and until we reinforce in the summer, he could have a few shifts to put in. Yeah,
quite a bit to prove, and what a chance to do it. What an opportunity. Mark Noble on 499 appearances prior to tonight. Tonight is, of course, as Pinky has pointed out, his 500th appearance, just behind Jeff Hurst on 504. The fantastic and unbeatable Vic Watson, the club's record goal scorer with 505. Stevie Potts also on 505. Memorably stuck on 399 league appearances. We would all, of course, I'm sure, remember Glenn Roeder refusing to bring him on for that final league game that would have made it 400 league appearances. Jimmy Ruffle next with 548 might be out of reach for Mark Noble, but you never know. It looks like he's unlikely to beat Alvin Martin in fifth on 596. Then, of course, we have Trevor Brook in Bobby Moore. And as Pinky has rightly pointed out already, Frank Lampard and the general Billy Bonds at number one with 799, a record unlikely ever to be beaten in modern days. Briz, we are 5 minutes in. How are we looking so far? Anything that's caught your eye? You're very good at picking up little tactical nuances in the opening exchanges. What have you got for us, buddy? Anything so far?
Just to say that Johnson settled nicely. Antonio got away with a foul throw a minute ago, but Johnson came back and rescued him. We're playing really, really tight at the back. And very narrow, but when we're playing the ball out from the back, we're actually going out wide to the wings and trying to cut in from the wings. So we're almost kind of going in a diamond shape, really, which is kind of unusual. But I suppose we're matching Watford and what they've set up to play.
Thank you very much, as always, Briz, for your tactical assessment there. Gnome, is a point tonight such a bad result after all, given what's happened this week?
It's not the worst, but hang on, Antonio's through.
Get in!
It's
Pinky, over to you, buddy. Talk me through it.
It's Antonio again. I mean, you just can't stop him scoring at the minute. The man is absolutely on fire. Ball broke in the box. I mean, the ball works from the right, and Antonio gets on the end of it, and there you go. Hang on, pulls the trigger, left foot.
It's a great finish.
I'll be honest with you, keeper should have done better there, but
yeah. Briz, Souček seemed to win the ball in midfield and play it forward there, but what a finish, from Mikel Antonio that was.
It was brilliant. It all started from Johnson.
Straight through the keeper's legs. Nuts, as they used to say.
And then Bowen again, not giving up on the ball and chasing it down. Ball broke, got to Antonio. Absolutely sublime finish, cool as he like.
Right, tin hat can come off now because I won't be needing that tonight.
Rio, a touch of fortune perhaps that the ball seems to have gone right between the keeper's legs there.
Yeah, who cares? Who cares?
Who cares?
Just going to refer back to the forum. I was just about to call out Brother Nero, who put West Ham 5, Watford 2, Antonio will score all 5 goals. I was just about to cane him, and that happens. So keep on going, bro. Keep on going.
You wouldn't believe this.
No.
My TV's, there's a UHD playback issue. I've got to go and reboot my Skybox of all bloody things. Keep me posted. I shall be right back.
Gnome is out of the stream at West Ham 1, Watford 0. What a fantastic start for the Hammers, Pinky. Less than 7 minutes on the clock. Michail Antonio scoring his 7th goal.
Watford breaking now.
He's been becoming the leading goal scorer since.
And you know what? You know, how often does it happen where we can't get the breakthrough? How often does it happen where, you know, we knock on the door and we just can't make it happen? So tonight, I don't care that the Watford keeper couldn't keep his legs shut. Bottom line is, Antonio pulled the trigger and it was on target. That's the key. You know, if you're going to have a shot, make it on target. And he did everything he had to do. Thrilled for him. Absolutely thrilled for him.
Watford corner into the box, cleared by West Ham.
Good stuff. Again, I mean, I know we say this.
Dear me, nasty foul there. Looks
Briz?
like yellow card for one.
Yellow card for Briz.
Just having a look now to see if I can see.
Yep.
Cleverly.
Pretty nasty.
Okay,
foul.
so what a.
Looks like an elbow on Bowen. Oh no, he's kicked him in the face. 5 foot.
5 foot, yeah.
Okay, you guys are, of course, about 35 seconds ahead of me, so I'm just seeing that now. I mean, that's a naughty one. I mean, it looks like Atkinson's just, it's just assuming it's not a deliberate, a nasty foul, just one of those things. But Gnome, you're back with us. Good to see you again. But it's not,
I am. Mattelli's not. It's
you are. Rio, not a great time to go into the book, is it? Really, after just 8 minutes.
No, but let's be honest. Watford have got a reputation for being a niggly side. You've got Nigel Pearson managing. I'm surprised it took so long, to be honest. Horrible bunch of geezers. Horrible.
It's going to be all over in minutes. This was a boxing match. It was stopped. I mean, lucky played in from the right over the far side, and I think it's super Tommy Souček who has just banged it in the net, off the head. Thank you very much, son. We'll have that. 2-0 West Ham.
What an incredible start it is here in Stratford. West Ham, I've still not seen the goal, of course. I'm just watching it come in. But I'm just seeing Bowen deliver the ball from the right. It's coming in, and he's a martin. That's a superb finish. Breeze, what about that one?
That's absolutely brilliant. And yet again, Johnson starts the ball rolling with Bowen. Great cross from Bowen. And fantastic goal again from Souček. Just saying on YouTube, as a... players are going crazy. The people on YouTube are actually going crazy on here. Polaroid, get in. Lewis said, is Ben Johnson's lack of game time a worry? Doesn't look like it so far.
We're in dreamland. 10 minutes gone. West Ham United 2, Watford 0. It's not just, of course, the fact that we're ahead. Our goal difference is improving all the time. And, as we said before kick-off tonight, whoever wins tonight is almost guaranteed, not guaranteed, but pretty much guaranteed safety and a place in the Premier League next season. Rio, what's going on? What's going on? It's like Norwich all over again.
Yeah, must be something to do with the colour yellow. It's just a fantastic start. I mean, our 2 key players, Souček, since he came in, has been a revelation. Since the COVID return, he's been an absolute dominant force in midfield, and he's got an eye for goal, as we've said. Antonio's probably in the greatest form of his career. It's just dream world, isn't it, at the moment? I didn't expect this.
And credit the manager there for that second goal, because if you look at the Watford defence, they had 2 centre-backs, one either side of Antonio. Yeah, so they clearly saw him as the danger man in the middle, because he does have some aerial presence. And lo and behold, Souček sneaks in behind like a stealth bomber. Yeah, he's coming. No one's noticed him. He's got the freedom of the park, and he just buries it. I mean, Andy Carroll never buried a header as good as that for West Ham United. That was absolutely majestic.
Briz, these two, we've said it week in, week out. Antonio, Souček, two of the stars since Project Restart began. They're doing it again tonight for West Ham.
They've been our hearts and kits to them. They hang on Watford on the break. Oh, great save Fabianski, as Rubang did. Great defending there. Looked like Ogbonna got in the way. And the ball's broke now with Antonio on the attack.
Good stuff. What do we do now? I mean, we're sort of, these are uncharted waters in effect for West Ham, who, of course, in the live league table now, let's point out, we do go 15th in the table. We go above Brighton as things stand. Rio, I mean, what do we do? Do we go for more? Do we sit back? How do you play this as a manager?
I've just had a really nasty flashback to our first season at the Olympic Stadium, and we went up 2-0 up at half time to Watford.
We did.
And Deeney got right up, and they turned the screw in the second half. So I'm all erring on the side of caution at the moment, but this is just remarkable.
I'm not having that, Rio. I'm sorry. Right, what do we need to do? We need to press on. I want another 16 goals tonight. I want us not only to rise up the table, I demand you have a positive goal difference by 10 o'clock tonight, because do you know what? That's how good we're playing at the minute.
We certainly are. It is a start that few of us would have dreamed of, apart from the aforementioned Forum, KUMB Forum member who suggested we would win 5-2 and Antonio would bag a hatful once again. We are absolutely delighted. Of course we are. West Ham fans. It's been a long and tough season, but is it finally over? Is this the night on which that West Ham finally achieve their Premier League place, secure their Premier League place for next season? We are 14 minutes gone now. I'm going to have a look at the forum also and just see what's going on. Rio and Briz are keeping an eye on you guys. Don't forget to let us know how you feel the game is going. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you, whether you're on the KUMB match thread, post on there, or alternatively, if you're on chat on YouTube, the guys are keeping an eye on your comments just to see what's happening. So let us know what you're thinking. Let us know your thoughts on the game and what you think West Ham need to do to capitalise on this lead. Gnome, how are you doing there, buddy? Are you back with us yet?
I've got visuals, but I haven't got any sound at the moment. I think when I was rebooting it, I think I may have pulled the optical connector out the back or something, but I'll rectify that at half time. Yeah. I haven't seen the second goal yet though, because it was while the Skybox was rebooting. So
I'm not sure that Ben Foster's seen the second goal either yet, because the pace it flew past him into the back of the net. I'm not sure he realised what hit. But good to have you back anyway, buddy. We are a fivesome once again. Pinky, 15 minutes gone. West Ham United 2, Watford 0. It's gone a bit quiet for the last couple of minutes, but that's exactly what we want, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to come across as the playground bullies every week. And I suspect the manager sent the message out, look, just beat them, but don't humiliate them. Because, at the end of the day, Watford, they're a nice family club and all that. But I think somebody in the club's boardroom needs to be checking with the FA, because, they've changed so many rules at the restart, the 5 substitutes and all that. I've heard a rumour that if you win 10-0, you actually get 6 points for the win. Now, it's just a rumour, but why not? They've changed every other rule, so why not the number of points for a win? Because I've now got Crystal Palace in our sights. We've gone past Brighton and Hove Albion. Let's really go for it.
Interrupt here. We've just had a ludicrous VAR.
Ridiculous.
A long ball played forward. I'm not sure who it was from Watford. Went into the box, went down like a sack of spuds. Was offside anyway, and but they VAR'd it. Firstly, they were checking for the possible penalty, but eventually they decided it was offside in the first place. So I think it might have been Sarr they're focusing on there now. but ludicrous VAR. It was obviously offside, and yeah, we're back in the room.
We perhaps Watford are already, that's where they are now, 2-0 down. It's desperate stakes, and Watford have got two very, very difficult games to follow this one. Of course, we all thought before tonight's game that, the 3 points were more important for Watford than perhaps West Ham, who, of course, still have Aston Villa to play. Manchester United is going to be a tough one next week, but it did look a little bit more difficult for Watford if they lost tonight, and it's certainly looking like that is going to happen at the moment. Of course, this is West Ham United. There is an awful long, long way to go. We are only 17 minutes in. However, the Hammers yet again are off to a flying start. It was 4 at Norwich on Saturday. It's 2 already here tonight. The goal's coming from Michail Antonio after 6 minutes, his 7th goal since the restart. And as I said earlier, that puts him top of the Premier League scoring charts for this second part of the season. And in the 9th minute, Tommy Souček, can we call him Tommy or is he a Thomas? I'm not sure. I think Tommy's a bit Repka-like, isn't it? Souček scoring after 9 minutes with an absolute bullet of a header that Ben Foster didn't even see to put West Ham 2-0 up. Rio, how are we looking on the forum, buddy? Any interesting comments coming in?
Yep, Celador's commented that our front four is incredibly good when the other clubs are bad. But you can only be a bully and be kind of Manchester United-like and Chelsea-like. It's nice to be on the other foot, isn't it, really? Also, Soft Hammer has just sung Twist and Shout so loudly, his neighbours have thought the Beatles are reformed. There could have been a couple of shovels involved, obviously, involving that, but yeah. I'm not a fan of the Beatles or the Twist and Shout thing, but carry on, mate. You wake your neighbours up.
Great stuff. Thanks, Rio. Briz, how are we doing in the YouTube chat? Any comments to pick up on there? What are the guys saying?
Yeah, Steve Palmer said we get a positive from VAR. Oh, the shock. And Neil from Down Under says his streamer's gone, so he's relying on us to keep him updated. So hopefully lots of shouts every time they score, boys.
Neil, we will, of course, do our very best as always to keep you and everyone else informed. Do let us know what you think of the game as the match progresses. We'd love to hear from you, whether on the match thread on the KUMB Forum or via the chat on YouTube. Our guys are keeping an eye on both tonight. So do let us know.
Well played, ref.
Gnome, go on.
Sorry, there was just a nothing challenge where the Watford player went down like a sack of spuds again. Referee waved play on. We had a promising move down the left, but bit of a poor ball sort of brought that to a halt. But that was well played, ref, because it's the sort of thing where you always see players go down, and a lot of time referees give that, and they really shouldn't. So well played, Atkinson, for once.
Good stuff. Thank you. Pinky, Watford seem to have gained a little bit more possession over the last 3, 4, 5 minutes, especially in the centre of the park. But they're, apart from the VAR.
Looking dangerous now. Cross from the right. It's a little bit too deep, and that is a foul. Free kick to West Ham.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you. Pinky, I was just going to say that Watford have sort of got a little bit of a stranglehold in the centre of the park over the last few minutes since we added our second, but nothing doing so far. No real concerns for West Ham.
No real concerns. I mean, you'd expect Watford to chuck a bit more at it. I mean, they're 2-0 down. They'll know the games they've got coming up, and they will have targeted tonight. Being no doubt that Pearson would have said to them, tonight is a must-win game for us. And 20 minutes in, 2-0 down for Watford. This is a disastrous night. But frankly, I don't care about them. I'm at this moment in time, I'm more concerned that the club's had my Mark Noble banner in the offices for the last 2 years, and you'd think they'd get it out for his 500th game, wouldn't you? And but no, you just leave it in the big bag underneath the desk. Thanks very much.
We haven't spotted Pinky's 500th appearance flag yet. If you do see it,
it's a flag I'd done for his testimonial. And,
I see.
Used once, but you'd think for the 500th game they might get it out.
I see.
No, we've got generic rubbish scattered all around the ground. How about a supporters flag? Please.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that would be nice. That would be nice. we are having to struggle to find things to complain about, however, tonight, of course, because West Ham are winning on the pitch, which is fantastic. We can't complain. Just going back to what Pinky was saying there about Watford's remaining games, they do, of course, after tonight, they travel to Manchester City this weekend. In midweek for what's really going to be a tough test for them before lining up at home to Arsenal on the final day of the season, which they will almost certainly have to get a result from unless there's a massive swing here tonight. So things looking tough for Watford, and you can understand why Nigel Pearson is looking rather concerned on the sideline so far tonight. It certainly hasn't gone to plan for the Hornets as we approach the 23rd minute of the game, with West Ham United leading by 2-0. The goals coming from Antonio and Souček. We just had a brief look moments ago at Moyes taking some notes as he looks at the technical and tactical side of what's going on out there at the moment. But no, really comfortable so far, yes?
So far, yeah. There's a couple of occasions where Watford have got crosses in, but they've been what we would generally refer to as lousy. Now, that's an interesting thing. We've just been given a free kick. And again, I haven't got commentary, so I'm not quite sure what the free kick was for. But the referee did the usual signal to say it was offside, which would be interesting because we've just taken it from inside their half. So presumably it can't be offside. And those arm signals weren't as they seemed. But all come to nothing. And Antonio's given away a free kick. So it's back down to scrappiness again.
Good stuff. We are a quarter of the way. We're halfway through, more than halfway through the first half now. So a quarter of the way through the game. West Ham at the moment.
And mend my telly.
We're going for a drinks break.
Thank you, Briz. That's not us, by the way. That is the players. Or it could be both, I guess. But yeah, I mean, as I was just saying, no complaints from anywhere so far tonight. It's been a wonderful start. You couldn't have asked for more so far from the boys out there. David Moyes still having a chat to his coaches there. They're just having a look at a few things, but they must be absolutely delighted, Briz, with what they've seen so far, yes?
Absolutely. I mean, the one concern I've got, and I've just been watching this now, is that Sarr is dropping deep. Cresswell goes across to cover the centre backs, and he's been finding lots of space down that side. And I just noticed a shout out from the bench, and Fornals on the last attack dropped into the left back position to cover it off. So I think they've actually spotted that, and we shouldn't get too many attacks down there. But we've been absolutely sublime. I mean, I must have tuned into the wrong channel, I think. Metlin both legs has said he can't get a stream, is really drunk, and wants to know who scored. So Souček got the second, and Antonio got the first for his benefit.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Briz. Antonio, after 6 minutes, Souček 3 minutes later. We've just seen it again on the TV for those that have the broadcast. It's an absolutely thunderous header, and it kind of I'm thinking of headers of some note.
What a ball! What a ball!
Pinky?
You know, Declan Rice picks up the ball deep in our half and launches a 50-yarder out to the left flank, and Antonio gets on the end of it. I mean, you know, fabulous bit of play there by Declan Rice. Yeah, fabulous.
Yeah, we haven't seen an awful lot of Declan so far, have we? Tonight with West Ham, you know, sort of being pretty much in control. I mean, I'm just seeing that now, and it's sublime, isn't it? What an absolutely inch perfect pass that is. But he's certainly getting better with those, isn't he, Pinky? As his time as a professional progresses.
Yeah, and there's been some debate this week on the forum about, you know, yes, again, like a number of young players, what is his best position? You know, and for a while I felt he might be best suited to centre back. Others
keeper's way out of his area.
Midfielder. Others think he could do more damage pushing forward. And you know, he's turning into one heck of a footballer, is Declan Rice. Good for him.
Yeah, the common consensus is that he may not be playing West Ham for much longer, with the rumours of a summer transfer move rife in recent weeks and months. But we are certainly enjoying what we're seeing of young Declan at the moment, and he's actually been instrumental, hasn't he, Rio? Since Project Restart began, we saw him take the captaincy from Mark Noble during the skipper's absence a few weeks ago. And a little bit in a way like Joe Cole, perhaps, all those years ago, it seems to have spurred him on a little bit more.
Yeah, and Rice is a natural born leader anyway. And should he stay in the long term, he's the obvious candidate to be our next captain. But I also think that he's more kind of diligent role and defensive duties in the centre of midfield have like freed Susek up to go forward a bit more. And they work well as a partnership that way.
Yeah, they
never a handball. Peel for handball. They were crossed from Watford. Never a handball, but refs going to VAR by the looks of it.
Okay, it looks like we have our second VAR call of the evening. Breeze, take us through it, if you will.
Or it might not be a call for VAR because Cresswell's down in the area holding his head. But there was a definite appeal from Watford for a handball there from O'Connor. Never in a million years. If they give that, we might as well give up and go home.
It's been basically played at him from about 3 feet away, and it's hit him on the upper arm here. It's not like any of that going on. The ball got played away. Antonio was fouled, at which point we saw that Cresswell was another 20 yards further up the field, lying on the floor. Let's have a look. He just caught a hand straight in the mush, basically. You know, the free kick's been given for the foul on Antonio. It was just VAR's looked at it, no red card. So they've decided to have a look again.
Not much in it.
No, he used his arm for leverage against Ogbonna, and Cresswell's come in on the back of the two of them and got caught.
Yeah.
To be fair, you'd want Cresswell in a pub fight. You know what I mean? If he's gone down like that, I mean, you wouldn't need your best punch. Yeah, coming up, you get Aaron. Come on.
No violent conduct, says VAR, and nothing given. We're seeing, we've seen a few reruns of it, and I'm not sure there's much in that. Is there really? I mean, come on, we're all big boys now. It's a big boys game, and I must just harking back to the proposal or the claim for handball. That kind of reminded me a little bit of what Luis Suarez used to do on a regular basis for Liverpool, where he would surge into the box and then deliberately aim a ball at an opponent's arm from kind of 2 or 3 yards away. And I think actually probably won a penalty or two over the years from such circumstances. But Gnome, of course, you are not Liverpool's greatest fan. Am I about right there? That's an old Liverpool trick, isn't it?
The old Liverpool trick is the finding some contact and then going down under the slightest touch of it is their main one. Getting back to this game, we're back underway again. We had a promising run down the right from Bowen that's forced a corner. Now, I'm one who always says we never score from corners, but we have been doing so lately. So I was taken short to Noble, back to Bowen. Little cross in. Oh, no, cleared.
Okay. No
profit. Oh, no, he's offside anyway. It would have been. So it looked a good ball from Cresswell out wide, but when the camera panned over it, Bowen wasn't where I thought he was, so it wasn't a good ball after all.
I mean,
no problem. No.
It's encouraging. We're trying different tactics at corners. We're not just trying floaty little crosses into the middle of the box. And there he is, Birmingham City star striker. Yeah. Oh yes.
Wearing his red.
He had. Yeah. Get him off the screen. Sorry, but why is he in the ground and loyal supporters are not there? Just hold a raffle, a ballot, anything. Pick somebody off the street, off the Stratford Broadway, anyone at all, but make them a West Ham United supporter. And what do we have in there? Paul Pesce-Solido. It ain't right. I'm sorry.
Karen Brady sporting a very dashing summer frock, I believe they used to be called back in the day.
That's Up Junction fashion correspondent for KUMB.
Sartorial elegance at its finest here on the live match stream, and also from our vice chair. But not our favourite player, Mr. Pesce-Solido. And as Pinky says, actually, I'd volunteer the guy who stood outside Stratford Station this morning, giving away thousands of free face masks.
What a great tackle!
Great tackle.
Breeze?
Watford broke down the left-hand side. Ogbonna makes a last-ditch tackle and takes the ball off his toes. He's one-on-one almost with the keeper, and Ogbonna makes a brilliant tackle there.
That is superb.
Absolutely we did, fantastic. Of course, say, Rio, that the other night in the latest Mod Pod that Ogbonna was one of the leading candidates for the Player of the Year award this year, and that's certainly done nothing to dispel those claims, I would suggest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, he's been an absolute rock all season in a side that hasn't defended well at all. And without him, we would be in a lot more trouble than we are.
Yeah, I'm just seeing that now, and it's a brilliant tackle. I mean, Sarr, I think it is shaping up to shoot. Excuse me, with his right foot, and Ogbonna's coming with his left and just dragged the ball away from him. It's a really difficult and complex challenge to make, and obviously in those circumstances, it's that much more difficult because if you've only got to be a little bit out, Gnome, haven't you? And it's a penalty, especially in this day and age with VAR.
Yeah. Bowen's just gone down the right, ran out of space and all that, but that's an interesting ball. Noble's been played in, gets the cross in, but it's not a good cross, and Watford looks clear. Yeah, timing is everything with VAR, and of course the other thing is that when you're looking at VAR and everything gets slowed down, things can often look like a foul that wouldn't have been given in a million years before VAR. So. But that was a superb tackle because the guy cut across.
I mean, this is looking like a schoolboy game.
Give away one there.
Pinky?
Yeah, it's looking like a schoolboy game. I mean, considering, what's at stake here, the stage of the season and where the teams are on the league table, this is an incredibly open game of football. I mean, if Sam Allardyce was watching this, he would be having palpitations because he'd be saying, you know what, we need to just tighten it up a touch, have the players tuck in, close any space off, and just actually shut the game down. At 2-0 up, I'm loving the way we're playing, but really, just actually tone it down a bit. I can't believe I'm saying it, but we are wide open, as are Watford.
I've got to say, actually, Pinky, sorry, buddy, sorry for coming over the top of you there. I was just going to say, I'm surprised how loose Watford are with some of their passes. That's such a big game, and they really just haven't got to grips with it.
Very well there. We've just done it again where they come back and we just get a little foot in and then we start again to break. And having said that, then the pass to Cresswell's a shocker from Johnson and Cresswell can't keep it in. But what we are doing is that when we have lost the ball, we're getting it back fairly quickly. We're getting little feet in and we can build again from there. So
34 minutes in. Thank you, Pinky. Thank you, Gnome. 34 minutes gone. It is West Ham United 2, Watford 0. The match stats. We haven't had a look at the match stats yet. Believe it or not.
Oh, this is good.
Gnome?
Fornals has gone down the left. Some lovely play over the left. Oh, that's a cross has been blocked. And it's a corner. And there's a yellow card there for something, I think for Hughes. But I think he's...
Oh, you nasty.
He's taken Noble out.
Right, that issued on Will Hughes. I'll tell you what, West Ham United, who's our enforcer? You have full permission to steam in on them. That was a snidey, unpleasant, nasty, niggly challenge. I tell you what, Will Hughes, you're going to get it, son, because that was uncalled for. Awful challenge. Awful.
Yeah, no hesitation by the referee in issuing our second yellow card of the evening. It looks like Hughes stamps on Noble's toe or just leaves the boot in, but absolutely right, Pinky. It's a nasty, spiteful challenge, and it is also the second Watford midfielder to go in the book tonight. That could prove crucial as the game wears on and people, start to get a little bit tired and tackles come in just a little bit later than they should do. Cleverly was, of course, booked in the 8th minute for...
40-yarder from Declan Rice. Get in.
Please talk us through it, buddy.
We had an innocuous corner. It looked like it had been cleared by Watford. Ball drops to Rice. He's about 30 yards out. Drills it into the corner of the net. Absolutely superb.
It is unbelievably almost West Ham United.
Wow.
Watford 0. I've not seen the goal yet. I've just seen the ball laid back to Rice. Ben Foster. What is Ben Foster doing there, Rio? He's on his knees when Ricey drills that one into the far corner.
I think he's been watching the old Spain 82 World Cup videos of Alan Ruff. He's made another attempt. It's unreal. He just curled through. Just make a dive for it, man. You might save it. I'm glad you didn't, but just make a dive.
It's Souček holding his head there, which was incredible.
It's we were in dreamland at 2-0. I'm not quite sure what to call this at 3-0 with 36 minutes gone. The boys played out by Mark Noble. Can I just say, grabbing yet another assist for those who have criticised him recently. Declan Rice receives the ball on his right foot, takes one look before drilling the ball into the corner, and then he's straight over to David Moyes for a big man cuddle. Cresswell's joined in, Johnson's in there, everyone's having it. West Ham are 3-0 up. Pinky, is there any way back for Watford from this?
Never mind Watford, 13 more goals and we're in positive goal difference territory. It's on, I'm telling you it's on. And whatever you do, do not use Sendo's bookmaker, because remember, they're the home of the skinny odds. Yeah, they'd probably give you about 3-1 on us getting another 13. But now Watford are done. I mean, they're absolutely done here. I mean, fair play to them. They've had a go. It's been a very open game, but you know, that's been their downfall. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, 2-0 down's dangerous. 3-0 down, you're gone. You're gone. Pearson, go home. Your day's work is done, son. You know,
Yes.
finished.
38th minute, West Ham 3. West Ham 3, Watford 0. What a goal difference in the last two games that is. 7 goals for, none conceded in less than 135 minutes of play. It's absolutely unbelievable stuff. Scenes, as they say in modern parlance, at the Olympic Stadium in Stratford. Nigel Pearson looks, he doesn't know what's going on. He's distraught. He's seeing the Premier League falling away from them as we speak. Briz, how are the fans reacting on the chat? Is there anything on there? I mean, or is everyone too dumbstruck to actually write anything?
No, it's gone a bit wild on the chat. So Pedroid says yes, Declan. Richard Van, yes. Spencer Neal says Worldy, another 10 million. Steve Page says, oh my word. And Steve Palmer says, laugh out loud at Foster. He might.
Oh, superb done. Johnson's
Go on, come in, please.
Sorry, Johnson's just put in a superb tackle on someone, beautifully timed, but he's now he's gone down rubbing his knee now. It was a beautifully timed tackle. Somebody just tried to take the ball inside and he just stuck a leg out and just mugged him. They're just showing the goal again. And looks up, curls it away, and it's Foster hitting the floor. That's the bit I like. He's sort of punching the ground in frustration.
Absolutely, yeah, sheer frustration. He's been beaten 3 times in the opening half. The Ben Johnson tackle there, almost reminiscent of Bobby Moore in the 1970 World Cup against Brazil. Of course, slightly outside the area, penalty area on this occasion, but just, you know, stuck out a leg, nicked the ball away and carried on with his business nonchalantly as if nothing.
I would point out that whoever it was from Watford is no Josino.
Well, that's probably a very fair point. I'll give you that one. But Rio, over to you, buddy. You're keeping an eye on the match thread for us tonight. Same question, really. I asked Briz. I mean, is everyone too dumbstruck to comment? What are the guys saying over there?
Well, it's one of them curious things that there's a lot of chat when we don't do very well on a forum. At the moment, there's just squeals of ecstasy and delight. And if I repeat them, I might get the police coming down and asking what the hell I'm doing behind closed doors. But no, everyone is deliriously happy, and who can blame them?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's one sort of like looming concern I've got. I mean, when will Antonio's goal drought end? It's been 30 minutes. 30 minutes since he scored. And if David Moyes isn't thinking of making a sub right now, well, I tell you what, he's not doing his job. 30 minutes since the goal, finished. He is finished. Yeah.
I've pointed it out a couple of times already, of course, but as we know, Michail Antonio, 7 goals now since the restart of the Premier League back in mid-June. He is the Premier League's leading goal scorer during that period. What an important part he's played, but everybody, Gnome, is doing their part tonight. We touched on him briefly a few moments ago. I think it's his first start at home for the Hammers. What do you think of Ben Johnson so far? How's he coping?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Watford aren't really giving him that testing of time, but what's come his way, he's coped with rather nicely. Long may it continue. So I'll just harking back to the earlier caller who was singing Twist and Shout so loudly they thought the Beatles the neighbours thought the Beatles had reformed. I think if I start singing it, I think the neighbours might think the Sex Pistols have reformed.
We've just seen an interesting one. I don't know if anybody picked up on it there, but it looked like a little dig on Declan Rice. I'm not sure who the perpetrator was, but as the ball went out for a throw-in, it looked like he got a little elbow in the back of the head. Rice kind of remonstrated with his assailant there, but nothing came of it. Just perhaps something to watch out for in the next 10 to 15 minutes, just to see if there's any retribution coming from him, or even Mark Noble for Will Hughes, who left the foot in on him when he was booked in the 35th minute. We are rapidly approaching half time. I did actually about 10 minutes ago go to the stats, but you know, the match always evolving, things always happening. We didn't get round to saying what was the situation. Just to say that it's almost neck and neck in terms of possession. West Ham currently 48% to Watford's 52%. Both sides have managed 4 shots at goal. West Ham with 3 on target to Watford's 1 so far. No surprise, every shot on target has ended up in the back of the net so far for West Ham. 2 corners, West Ham to Watford's 1. And West Ham have committed 4 fouls to Watford's 6. The only difference really being there that West Ham's have been pretty innocuous, while 2 of Watford's 6 fouls have ended up as yellow cards. They have 2 midfielders already in the book. They're 3-0 down. Things are looking bleak if you're a Hornets fan, Breeze, right now as we approach half time.
Yeah, and yeah, just a shout for Fornals, who's worked his socks off down that almost in a left wing back position. He's really backed Cresswell up. He's done so much hard work down there. He's obviously not getting noticed because obviously everyone's looking at the goal scorers, but his work rate is magnificent down that side. I have to, if I'm going to be controversial, I think Antonio's been, apart from the goal, has been quite poor. His ball control has been really poor tonight. On the plus side, Martin Noble's been superb in midfield, pulling the strings left, right, and centre, getting in the refs here, doing a proper captain's job tonight. So fair play to him. I've been a bit critical of him in the last couple of weeks, but tonight he's been brilliant.
Yeah, great stuff. There was some interesting debate to be had on the KUMB Forum over the last few days about Mark Noble's performance against Norwich. Several people felt he was outstanding. Some felt that he didn't really produce, despite contributing 2 assists and an assist of an assist, as I think I referred to it on Saturday. So, you know, it's funny, isn't it? I guess a lot of people have sort of preconceived ideas where Noble comes to mind, Pinky. And, you know, regardless of how he plays, you know, people have made their mind up about him. I suppose they've had 500 games to do that, really.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, the reality is the Cockney Cruyff, as some of us would know him as. You know, if you can see what he's got, you can see it. If you can't, well, you're missing out, frankly, because, you know, has he been brilliant in all 500 games? If I'm being honest, yes, he has. He's been absolutely outstanding every game he's played. And do you know what? I think you are fabulous, Mark Noble, and I look forward to the next 500 games. In all seriousness. You know, people will tell you what players cannot do. Yeah, but the point that Sam Allardyce used to make, and I'm, you know, it's the second time I've referred to him tonight. He'd always say, "Tell me what a player can do." Yeah, and he has many positive attributes. And I've always said it: when Mark Noble plays well, West Ham play well. It's as simple as that.
Yep, fair and accurate assessment from Pinky.
Watford have bought a free kick here. Johnson, a rare slip from him, gave the ball away, and Declan Rice pulled down the player. It's pretty much dead central, I'd say, slightly left, maybe 30, just under 36 yards out, looking from the cut of the green. So Hughes floats it in. It's dealt with, it's headed away by I think that was Ogbonna. Yeah, Ogbonna there.
Okay.
It's gone out for a throw, so yeah, nothing to fret about.
Thanks, Gnome. The important thing, I guess.
Sorry,
no. I guess the important thing there that no free kick for no yellow card against Rice.
No yellow.
Player who he had the little tete-a-tete with out on the touchline a few minutes earlier. We'll keep an eye on that and see what happens. We are into the second of 3 added on minutes at the end of the first half. It is West Ham United 3, Watford 0. The Hammers on their way to Premiership safety as a result, if they can hang on to this lead. The goal difference, we've just seen Watford have a fairly decent chance, header over the bar. Nigel Pearson is kind of talking to himself there, looks a little bit annoyed. Rio, who's keeping an eye on the forum for us tonight, looking at the match thread. We're just about to go into halftime. Dawson was the attacker there with the header. But Rio, what are the forums saying? Presumably, we've got a few more reasonable comments now rather than just screaming and kind of madness.
Yeah, and I think the comment of the night so far is from Neath Iron, who's just put, "This is champagne football. Haven't seen us attack with this pace in years. We look a threat every time we go forward. Moyes cannot be accused of being too defensive after his first half. Superb stuff." And that really sums it up for me. What an evening so far. What an evening. Even the presence of Albert Steptoe in the midfield for Watford isn't denying us.
Harold.
We are in the final minute of the half. It looks like West Ham are going to go into the interval with a 3-goal lead, which is more than any of us could have possibly hoped for tonight on a game when we were all kind of a little bit nervous, all expecting Watford to challenge West Ham and make it really, really difficult for us. It hasn't transpired that way so far. Of course, there's a long way to go. We have a whole half yet to play, but Briz, do you want to take us into the halftime break, my friend? And
Ref's just blown up for half time. Watford just launching long balls. Ogbonna's dealing with it all day long. Again, just the work ethic from our players tonight has been absolutely superb. Bowen's worked hard on the right. We've had Fornell's working hard on the left. Ogbonna and Rice have been magnificent at the back. And Noble's been pulling on the street. It's one of the best work rates I've seen for a long time. And having been really critical of David Moyes, I think tonight he's got his game plan exactly right. And Pinky, I think there's a special on tissues. If Mark Noble scores, I think you better nip out and grab some.
Pinky, of course, we should point out, he hadn't brought us an awful lot of luck in the first few games when we broadcast Eyes Up Mother Brown, but the boomerang is back tonight, and it's bringing us some of the luck it brought us again on Saturday.
It is back, and also the West Ham United coffee mug is making its debut this evening, and one has to say that boomerang, I think, do you know what? We're going to win the league next year with that. That's what's coming. That's how lucky that boomerang is. But all seriousness tonight, we couldn't ask for more, could we? 3-0, half time. And, you know, we're looking comfortable, we're looking positive, and they're looking happy, the players. You know, when Rice banged his goal in, 6 or 7 players ran across the touchline to hug the manager. Now, that's a good sign. That is a good sign. And, you know, if the chairman's sitting in his comfy chair there thinking, have I got the right man? Well, it looks like the players seem to think so. So that's very positive for West Ham.
Yeah, always good to see signs of togetherness and camaraderie in the squad. And that's what we're seeing tonight, as Pinky's rightly pointed out. Someone who isn't with us tonight, unfortunately, is DL, one of our team who couldn't make it tonight, as he's only just got back from a quick sojourn into Europe, Wales actually to be precise, but I guess it counts technically. He tells us that he said last week Rice had a shot on him and he should use it more often. Well, he's certainly done it tonight. DL says they must have seen the pod, and I guess they must have done. One thing they wouldn't have seen, DL, though, is you fall into the river while you're on a trip to Wales, which is something that we'll chat about when we get you back on the Mod Pod on Sunday. I hope your clothes have all dried out, buddy. But it's good to hear you back in England, back over this side of the river safely anyway. Rio, your assessment really of the first half. I'm just going to nip off for 30 seconds, so over to you for just a bit.
It's just free-flowing champagne football at the moment. Watford haven't really offered much, and we've done exactly what we needed to do. We've taken our chances, we look comfortable, we've worked hard. Bowen's offered a lot down the right-hand side, industry-wise. Johnson's had a few lax moments. His passing's been a bit awry, but going forward, he looks decent. Just needs to kind of sharpen up with the defensive duties. But all in all, it's nothing but positive, and I can very rarely remember saying that about West Ham in the last 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's a tough one. It's a really difficult game to be thrown into, isn't it? A huge relegation clash, as it is tonight, to make your home debut, and he's not really put a foot wrong. As Gnome pointed out earlier in the half, there was one absolutely superb tackle that he made deep in our own territory, just outside the box, to dispossess an opponent, and he just walked off with the ball really casually and nonchalantly. As if it was just meat and drink to him. So really good stuff all round. I mean, I just wanted to say one player known that I've been particularly impressed with so far is Jarrod Bowen. I think he's as much as Brice said that Pablo Fornals had worked like a Trojan on the left-hand side. I think Bowen has been really impressive on the right. He's been chasing a lot of even dead balls, but it looks like to me that Watford are really worried about him. He looks like they seem to be doubling up on him an awful lot
and trebling up on him. At one point, there were three around him.
Yeah.
Clearly. This is a game really that I know we're all sitting there a bit nervous beforehand and all that, and that was because I think we're worrying about Watford. I think when you get down to the actual team itself, this is the sort of game where you just need to do your thing and not worry about the opposition. And I think that showed on the pitch that we're a team, we've gone out to play some football and do the best we can. Watford have come into the game concerned about what we might do. And we've imposed our game on the game. Simple as that. Long may it continue. I've got no real concerns. The only thing I would say is that since 2-0 down, there's been a lot of Watford niggle. We've seen that nasty little thing from Hughes on Noble, and there's been a couple of times, where there's been throw-ins just been waiting to take, and I've noticed Hughes sort of like jostling Noble around and all that. Now Noble, 500 games, he's not going to sort of rise to that. But we saw something similar happen to Declan Rice, who was getting a little bit knocked about it. Yeah. Just want to make sure we keep our composure and don't get drawn into anything stupid like that. Just watching the second goal again, and it's a beautiful cross from Bowen, as we were just talking about him. He's looked up, cutting on his left, and it's gone across. It hasn't got an awful lot of pace on it, and Souček has just sort of doubled the pace of it as it's come off his head. He's put that much into it. Fine goal. And I was here for the third one properly, so I've seen that one properly. And it just came from nothing. Again, corner came across, sort of half cleared out that wide. Fornals playing around with it a little bit. Nobody's quite sure what we're going to do with it, so it gets played inside there to Declan. It looks up. You're just thinking, well, what's going to happen now? Next thing we know, it's in the net. It's been the perfect performance. It's just been what we wanted. So more of the same. Don't get drawn into little niggles. Hughes already been booked. He's trying to sort of draw bookings and stuff like that. That's what they're all about. And if I can add one final mischievous little comment to this thing, given that Watford were mentioned in the same name as this person, I wonder if Nkaki is watching this from anywhere, and wondering what might have been.
Yes, indeed. Of course, wouldn't be the first young hammer to go to Watford in recent seasons. Don Quinner went there and seemed to just disappear, didn't he? Played a few games and then fell off the face of the earth. I'm just watching that third goal again, and I'm watching Ben Foster's positioning throughout as the shot's coming in. There's no slip there. I'm not sure whether he thinks the shot's going wide and whether it just.
I think that's it. I think it's a total misjudgment. I think he's thought that's going wide and trusted himself and got it horribly wrong.
He's actually got an awful lot horribly wrong so far, hasn't he, Rio? The first goal goes through his legs. The second, he's not really at fault for the second. There's not really much he can do. But, you know, it's rare you see a goalkeeper just sit there and watch the ball fly past them like that.
Yeah, it's very strange. And it's a bit weird because Foster this season has been really good for them. He's kept them in a few games, earned them a few points. He's got a lot of pedigree, and it's just inexplicable what he's done tonight. Particularly that third one. I just can't fathom what he's doing. It was Adam Ruff. It's just reincarnation of Adam Ruff. Just like to point out on the forum, and this is one for our friend Mr. Palermo. Mel Hammer's just asked if we should change Pinky's name to the Pink Pesky Salido.
That's an instant ban, sure. That's an instant ban. I mean, you know, there's some insults being hurled, much softer than that. I've seen posters banned for life, steward's inquiry. I mean, for me, just going back to the Rice goal there and what have you. If you're Pearson, you're in the dressing room at half time. Yeah. Who's got the desire and what thing to close Rice down? Nobody even tried. Nobody even tried to stop him getting a shot off. You've got a half-hearted Will Hughes sort of like a couple of yards away, but he's got all the time in the world to unleash that shot. And this is about the basic fundamentals of football. If you give a player of Declan Rice's ability time and space on the ball, he'll punish you, because as I've said before, they're all good footballers, all of them. None of them are bad, and if you do not work hard, you'll present your opponent with opportunities. And Pearson, he should be really tearing into his team at half time. They're shocking. Watford at the minute, shocking.
Yeah, it's a real surprise, isn't it, Pinky? Because he came in at a time when they looked doomed anyway, and he really transformed their season. And yet here we are, and they look as bad as they were in any of those first 10 to 15 games. Sorry, Pinky, that was for you. Just going back to you.
I think there's a very unsettled club at the minute. Sorry. Yeah, for me, yeah?
Yes, sorry, buddy, yeah.
Sorry? Yeah, I think they're a very unsettled club at the minute. I think Troy Deeney had some well-documented opposition to the restart, made it quite clear he didn't want to be playing. I think there's probably some sympathy with him amongst his teammates, and they kind of lack focus as a team. And like many things, if you don't really want it, if you don't really want to fight and compete and battle away in this league, and the example I'll give you is Crystal Palace. They look like they're just sliding down the table, and Moyes has got our lads pumped up, a couple of wins now. Guess what? I'm looking at us finishing in 13th spot now. Who'd have thought that? Because with just Manchester United and Aston Villa to come, why not finish the season with 2 wins? Yeah, why not?
Indeed. We're certainly finishing it with a flourish as things stand. This could be the first back-to-back wins for the Hammers for, well, some considerable time. But just having a quick look at the table there.
I can tell you when, Gray.
Go on, Gnome.
When we beat Norwich and Watford in consecutive games earlier on in the season.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Was it really? There you go. Amazing. So we're looking at, it's been a few months anyway, and certainly the first time since Moyes returned to the club at Christmas, or at New Year, should I say. The league table, as things stand, that Pinky just referred to. Norwich are, of course, relegated with 21 points currently from 36 games. Villa and Bournemouth, they're on the edge, aren't they? They really are. 31 points each from 36 games played. Watford, then, as things stand, would have 34 points from 36 games, still 3 points clear of the relegation zone, but with Manchester City and Arsenal to come. Then it's Brighton in 15th place with 37 points from 36 games and a goal difference of -16. And as it stands in 15th place right now would be West Ham United, 37 points also from 36 games, but with a goal difference of -12. Pinky's looking up the table. He's looking at Palace and Newcastle. 2 wins, and you never know. We could catch them up. We do have a better goal difference currently than the Eagles and the Magpies. So perhaps we could fly above both of them before the end of the season. Who knows? You never know. We are just a few minutes away from the start of the second half. Breeze, it's West Ham United 3, Watford 0. Let's turn our attention to the second half now. What do we need to do? I mean, presumably it's another case of just sitting tight for the first 10 minutes and just making sure we don't do anything silly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about consolidation. They sit tight, keep it all nice and tight, keep possession. They'll get more and more frustrated. They've got 2 players in the book. I think it can only go downhill for Watford from here. I mean, it's bad enough as it is now, but the heads will start to drop around about 80 minutes, and we just keep the pressure on, I think. Just going on to the chat from YouTube. Looks like Neil from Down Under's got his stream back, which is great. One for you, Pinky, is Pierno Schiavone. I hope I've said that right. It says, I see Karen Brady with her Hannibal Lecter muzzle on.
That's a little bit harsh, and you know, I think what I'd say is we'd always encourage people on the forum to give honest views, but nothing misogynistic, nothing inappropriate, and whatever criticisms we do or do not have of our vice chair, they're always pleasantly presented, shall we say. There's nothing sexist we allow or anything like that, and so I'd kind of avoid that a little bit. I'd actually applaud the vice chair for applying sensible safety precautions for herself, and good for her doing that. So now I'm not going to go along with that one. I'm afraid I'm avoiding that trap, if I may. Sorry, fellow poster.
Very good.
We're about to start again. There's one substitution. Watford have brought on Mariappa in defence for Messina. So Mariappa's a defender, I believe. We've just kicked off anyway. That's the one change anyway.
Thank you, Gnome. Thank you for the update there. We are into the second half. I was just going to say, Rio, and bearing in mind you mentioned him on the mod pod at the weekend, I've just seen Troy Deeney lead the Watford team out for the second half. I think that's the first time I've seen him since he led the team out at the start of the first half. Where's he been?
He's been absolutely innocuous tonight, thankfully. Yep. But, you know, there's always a sting in the tail with him. So I'm expecting some kind of reaction. I'd just like to go back to the forum a minute. There's a lot of people kind of integrating me. Binary, Puff Daddy, Plasto Iron. They're all still nervous. Years of supporting West Ham can take its toll on a man.
That will do that to you, yeah.
Yes, we sort of went through this on Saturday at Carrow Road, didn't we? Well, not personally, we weren't there, but watching the stream live, we were sitting here debating at what point we could sit back and feel comfortable that West Ham had the points in the bag. Obviously, some hammers still not particularly 100% happy, even at 3-0 here. But you never know. We spoke about this on Saturday. There have been occasions, Gnome, in which West Ham have thrown away a 3-0 lead. Not too many, but it has happened before, of course.
Wimbledon was one I remember. Did we do the same at West Brom once as well?
We did.
West Brom, yeah.
Yeah. I think the West Brom was the famous one. Oh, sorry, his cross comes in from Watford, but it's cleared. They've still got the ball deep, and they've gained a corner from it. Yeah, the Watford one, I think, famously was the one where Jermaine Defoe got sent off for the sort of challenge that you see, you know, happen time and time again, and only gives a yellow. But for some reason, Jermaine Defoe was given a red just for walking on the pitch at that point in time, I think. It prompted the lads not right in the head comment from Terry Brown, I think. Corner comes across and it's headed wide.
Okay, first chance of the second half goes to the visitors. They'll be looking for much, much more of that as the half goes on, and they're certainly going to need to, Brice, because they're 3-0 down at the break.
Yeah, and again, one of the interesting things that we've done tonight, which I've noticed, is we stopped doing that thing where when Fredericks and Cresswell play together, of overlapping the fullbacks. So quite often we'll play the ball deep into midfield. The fullbacks will run past and we'll play a ball out wide to them, and quite usually the ball's blocked. We've stopped doing that tonight. The fullbacks are dropping deep and allowing the midfielders to run onto the ball in a much more attacking position, and we've been better for it. So I don't know whether that's, again, a tactical change by Moyes, but if it is, credit to him, because we look better for it.
Yeah, another excellent observation, if I may say so. Kabasele, I think it was, who just nodded that header, glancing header wide of Lucas Fabianski's.
Oh, Watford are in.
No?
Oh,
Torres hit the post.
goal.
It's a goal.
Okay.
Rory hit the post. And Deeney, who else, followed up and put the rebound away.
Okay. We're just in the 4th minute of the second half. Rio, we were just sitting here digging out Troy Deeney for not scoring. Well, that'll teach us, won't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
What did I say?
nightmare.
He's got a sting in the tail somewhere. Of all the people. And I think a little bit of apprehension on the forum and in my section of Dagenham tonight could be well founded if we don't buck our ideas up and get the heads up and regain our composure.
Yes, a really sloppy start to the second half from David Moyes, West Ham there. Angelo Ogbonna, beaten unusually easily there in the approach. The shot, the ball hits the post, it rebounds quite fortuitously, perhaps, into the path of Deeney. And again, reasonably fortuitously, his shot evades Aaron Cresswell's outstretched left boot by about 6 inches by the looks of things. So it's one of those where kind of everything's sort of, in fact, I think Cresswell, Briz might have just got a slight touch on that before it went in, but everything seemed to go in Watford's favour there anyway.
What you missed in the first instance is Diop had an absolute nightmare. I think he's nutmegged as the ball comes through, and then Ocon was left stranded. But yeah, you're right. Just poor defending there.
I think as well, I think you're being a bit harsh on Troy Deeney there in terms of the fortune.
Yeah.
He'd originally been, out on the left, and when the ball started moving around, he worked incredibly hard to make sure he was exactly where he should be, just in case there was an opportunity in the box. I'd say that was really good play by Deeney, actually. It wasn't luck that the ball came to him. He made it happen. And that's a player that he's given credit for.
Yeah, no, fair. That's a very fair point. You don't get to where you are, as Pinky has pointed out time and time again. All of these players, quality players, who have been through many, many coaches to get to the position where they are to play in the Premier League. Deeney profiting from an opportunity there to bring Watford back into the game. Gnome, it's, again, West Ham switching off, perhaps thinking the job's done. Do you think?
Well, we've got a corner, which has just been played out for another corner. We've had 2 corners now, and the first one, Noble played straight into Foster's hands, and we had to be very clever on to actually stop the break developing, because we look a little bit vulnerable when we're being run out on the break. We're looking for the Bowen's taking this corner. It's a little bit deeper, but again, it's straight down Foster's throat, and again, it's a little throw out that has them breaking, and we need to be a little bit careful on the break. Johnson's broken that up, and so it's all well, but we need to be getting Watford trying to play this from the back and doing what we did in the first half and breaking up stuff. What I don't like to see is if we're not taking corners that well, we're always vulnerable on the break to them. And much as we love him, I'm not sure Nova's the best person to be taking the corners out on our left-hand side here. His record with him isn't that great as the ball's played into the box, but it's a pass too far. It's just gone straight out for a goal kick.
Okay, thank you, Gnome. Pinky, let's have for the first time tonight, we're going to have a quick look at the options available to David Moyes on the bench. It's pretty much the same as it is every week. Randolph in goal, Masuaku and Balbuena as defensive options. Jack Wilshere and Connor Coventry back on the bench. Young Connor Coventry from the academy, lining up to replace Fredericks in the 20 as it is now. Tonight, Felipe Anderson back in the squad. Manuel Lanzini, Yarmolenko, all providing options out wide, and Sebastian Haller as the outlet up front. Should Michael Antonio, who we haven't seen an awful lot of, as was pointed out towards the end of the first half since he scored, a potential replacement there. We sort of say Moyes leaves the substitutions a little bit late. Nothing happening, no?
No, we were living a little bit dangerously where the cross came in, but the shot got blocked. But we've not come out for the second half, as far as I'm concerned. We're not.
Yeah.
Wake up, guys! Come on.
Yeah,
We've got a
Deeney
chance
seems to
to
be.
rub this lot noses in it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Troy Deeney seems to have begun the half like a man possessed, not unlike that game we spoke about earlier. Pinky, I was just coming to you to talk about the substitutions there, my friend. We've gone
I
through the options.
wouldn't
What are
make a
we
change at
looking
this
at here?
stage I wouldn't make a change of personnel.
Yep.
I would be getting the message out to the pitch very clearly. Hang on to the ball for 10 minutes. Just hang on to the ball. Don't even try and create anything. Just kill the game. And out there good enough to do that. In terms of the options on the bench, in reality, what the manager's got there are 2 or 3 players who you might want to bring on if you were chasing a goal. I don't think he's got many options to bring on if you're trying to hang on to a lead. So I don't think he's got a better choice than what he's actually got on the field right now. So for my money, no change at this stage. But how long can we let the Antonio goal drought last? It's now approaching 50 minutes since he scored. I mean, heavens above. Antonio, sort it out, son. Sort it out.
Sensational stuff. Michail Antonio, 4 goals on Saturday. Another goal here tonight after 6 minutes that put West Ham in the driving seat here against Watford. But as we have said, and as Gnome has pointed out, West Ham have not come out yet for the second half, even though we've played 10 minutes of it. It's reminiscent a little bit of that Brighton game, I think, where we were sort of cruising and, we sort of took our foot off the gas and, we saw it end in a 3-3 draw. We're hoping that would be absolutely dreadful tonight, wouldn't it, Rio? After being 3-0 up at half time, to not take 3 points from this game.
Yeah, absolutely. You cannot afford, especially in the relegation battle, to let things like this slip. Going back to the forum, obviously, since the goal, there's a lot of downhearted kind of people on there, expecting the worst. 4-3 on the cards. Neil Dees put VAR waiting for the moment to cost us the game. And WCP has come up with the most kind of comment so far. Serenity.
Hang on, the chairman's shoes, the bottom of his shoes, £8.99. I think he paid for his shoes. He's still got the price tag on. I couldn't quite make out the price, but you think, I know times are hard, but when you have to shop in the bargain basement for your shoes, that's surely sending a message to Ngakia. I offered you a fair deal because if I didn't, I'd have had my decent, expensive shoes on. Yeah, chairman sat there with his feet up. Nice to see.
Yeah, he doesn't look particularly pleased by what he's seeing at the moment. Maybe he's just a bit nervous. Is Dave not sporting a mask? Absolutely terrible, terrible stuff. But he seems to be socially distanced from anyone else, so that's probably not really an issue as things stand. We are rapidly approaching the hour mark, 2/3 through this game. West Ham 3-0 up at halftime, absolutely cruising. Second half's been a completely different story, however. Watford came out, had a chance, a header that was nodded just wide of the post. A couple of minutes later, the ball's in the back of the net from Troy Deeney. Who else? It's 3-1, and Watford are kind of back in the game. You sense, they're on their uppers. West Ham struggling a little bit at the moment to get hold of the ball. Briz, what are you looking at here? Are you thinking of substitutions at this point yet, or do you kind of agree with what Pinky was saying a few minutes ago, that we don't really have anyone to kind of hold the lead? The players we've got, the options are really, if you're chasing the game.
Yeah, I think we've been really sloppy this half. We've made some big mistakes and not been punished for them. I watched Cresswell bottle a tackle a minute ago. There was one attack where we had 3 players on their winger and we still let them get a cross in. For me, I'd take Antonio off and put Haller on and just start getting him to hold the ball up front and just nullify a bit from that breaking from the back from Watford.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation. Rio, would you go along with that? You think it's perhaps time to give Antonio a rest after all his exploits in recent games?
Actually, I wouldn't at the moment. I mean, he's obviously worked himself into the ground, but he holds the ball up a lot better than Heller does. And at the moment, we're dropping so deep in our own half. We need someone to can't make it stick up front. So I'd give it a little bit of time and see how this pans out for the next 10 minutes or so.
Okay, good stuff. 58 minutes gone. West Ham United 3, Watford 1. I've just seen Watford send another deep ball into the box from Dawson, which is nodded goalward, but it's meat and drink. for Lucas Fabianski, but it's all Watford since half time. West Ham, Pinky, they're starting to put us, on edge a little bit, aren't they, again?
Yeah, they are. I mean, Watford are well on top at the minute, and to be fair, over the last five or 10 minutes, they're bossing the game. They're getting at us as and when they want to, and we need to get a hold of the ball and hang on to it. So, for my money, I don't think Haller's the option. I really don't, but we need to make some kind of a tactical change here. It's all Watford. It's all Watford, and if the next team to score, I'm sure there's a betting market on it somewhere. It'll be a shorter price on Watford than it is on West Ham, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt right now, the way things are going. We've just seen Watford, another hopeful ball played across the front of Lucas Fabianski's goal. It's drifted out harmlessly for a goal kick. No one able to get on the end of it, Breeze, but it's another chance for Watford. And, Troy Deeney's really beginning to come into his own here this evening, isn't he?
Yeah, Will Hughes is pulling all the strings now for Watford in midfield. We seem to have got really tired. I don't know, it's just playing the high press in the first half, but Will Hughes is certainly making the difference here, and he's finding space. Cresswell, for me, this half has been absolutely awful. He's lackluster. He's not challenged for balls. He just seems to have switched off. But again, we've got no one to replace him with, so you've got to keep going with him, unfortunately.
Yeah, it really has. It's unbelievable, Rio. I mean, how does a game, where West Ham are cruising 3-0 at half time, is it just the manager sort of getting in amongst his players that can produce this kind of turnaround? Because it's quite remarkable what we're seeing. As we said, Watford were cruising. West Ham, sorry, were cruising at half time, absolutely in control of the game, and it's completely the other way round now. And what do you put that down to?
It's really hard to point out because it seems to happen for manager after manager after manager. It's like an ingrained part of our DNA. The worry is that we've seen Watford do this to us, as I mentioned earlier, in a previous game, and it really hurt us. This could be devastating if we let these get another goal and get a grip in this game full time. We're dropping deeper and deeper. Antonio's more isolated. He's on virtually a different ground. We really need to pick up. And as we say, we just broke forward. And,
we've just got. They had a corner, and Bowen took the ball away on the break, ran the length of the pitch, and then pushed it past the defender, who blocked him off. We've got a free kick right. Yeah, he's just basically body checked him. Right on the angle of the penalty box, the right hand side on the angle there. So dangerous position. Let's see what we can do with it.
Yeah, well, one thing that I'd just like to point out, I mean, it's a fantastic run, Gnome, isn't it, from Bowen? But look at the support he's got from Michail Antonio. And yet again, Breeze, it's your man, Pablo Fornals, making an 80-yard run on the left-hand side to support them. Great stuff.
Yeah, he's been brilliant. I just can't say enough for him. I mean, he took a lot of stick over the last couple of weeks, but his work rate is phenomenal.
Cresswell
hits
the free kick into the wall.
Okay.
Nothing's come of it. So,
but on the bright side, I guess, Pinky, it's a little bit of respite for West Ham. We're away from our end of the pitch for a few seconds or a few moments at least.
Absolutely. I mean, we need 4 or 5 minutes where we have nothing to talk about. Just of dullness, of boredom, and that, I'm afraid, is all about just hanging on to the ball and make Watford run around. Because let's not forget, Watford have dominated for 10 minutes, but we're still 3-1. And that's the stat that matters. And, wind the clock down and just actually frustrate Watford now. Because 3-1, we take the points. 3-2, we take the points. Even at 3-3, not the worst result for West Ham United tonight. So Watford have got all the running to make. And I think our best option is just frustrate them, hang on to the ball, and, just kill the game. This is a game management issue now.
Yeah, we're just seeing a stat there come up on the screen to confirm that there's been twice as much action in West Ham's third in comparison to Watford's, which is not unusual. I mean, for once, the stats kind of backing up what the eyes tell you. We are into the final third of this match now. I guess, Gnome, the longer it goes on, the more Watford really have to take a chance and, leave gaps which West Ham could ultimately profit from.
Yeah. What we've stopped doing is I mentioned it in the first half where Watford did have the ball, we were getting in, we were winning it back. We've stopped doing that to a certain degree, and we're kind of just sitting back and well, sorry, as I say, we've got a bit of a break on here. Is that Antonio's? That's interesting, because that looked to me like Foster pushed Antonio out of the way there as he was letting the ball go out. You're never going to get them, but Antonio was, bless him, was trying to keep Foster honest there. But yeah, we've stopped really sort of getting in amongst them and winning that ball back, and we're almost defending with like two back fours, the midfield dropping right back to play just in front, which is not something I like an awful lot. We've got about 3 minutes till the drinks break, and I think Moyes needs to have a chat then and remind them, why we were winning 3-1. But as I say, I mean, there's a couple of sort of iffy moments, but it's, whilst they've had a lot of possession the last 5 minutes, it's been a lot quieter anyway. It's been going across, and we've been making them work a bit hard. And
thanks, Gnome.
As Bowen pointed out there a minute ago when we got the free kick, maybe we can catch them on the break if we're clever about it. So,
yeah, I guess, as we said, the longer the game goes on, the more those opportunities are going to arise for West Ham. It's Rio. It's very much a case of digging in now for the next 5 to 10 minutes, making sure we maintain that 2-goal advantage and just sit tight really and do nothing silly, I guess.
Yeah, let's just slow the game down a bit more as we've done in the last couple of minutes. Keep hold of possession, not sit too deep. Because the deeper we sit, the more we invite them on. Don't give Will Hughes time and space. Keep on top of things. Don't panic. Don't do your usual stuff, West Ham. Just keep hold of the ball, for God's sake.
Keep hold of the ball, says Rio. And we certainly couldn't go wrong if we did that. We're inside the final 25 minutes. There's still been no changes for West Ham, Briz. The only change, I think, Pinky, go on.
Yeah, I mean, Watford were tearing forward, but Declan Rice, brilliantly timed tackle, just nips it in the bud, win the ball back, and now we're doing what we should be: slow the game down. And then Cresswell has a brain fart and chucks an aimless ball into the middle. And you know what? I'd have him do laps of the pitch on full time for that. That's just stupidity.
Yeah, it's a fantastic challenge coming in there from Declan Rice. Not the first one of the evening, and certainly not the first he's made in recent weeks. As we said collectively earlier in the game, he's been absolutely exceptional in the last few weeks in terms of getting West Ham into a position now where they are just 25 minutes away from Premier League survival, or at least one would expect Premier League survival to be assured, virtually assured anyway, at least, if we were to hang on to this lead here. It is West Ham United. Gnome, sorry?
There's substitution being made. Deeney's coming off. He's been replaced by Andre Gray. So, not looking too happy about life, even though he's got his goal. Yeah, they're playing on. I thought they might have taken the opportunity to take drinks there, but they appear to be playing on and carrying on. So, yeah, Gray on for Deeney.
As we see Troy Deeney come off the pitch, he hurls his skipper's armband in sort of semi-mock disgust, perhaps. And he certainly doesn't look too pleased about being withdrawn from this one, as Gnome rightly points out there. But it kind of looks like it was one of those changes that was sort of planned, Briz, perhaps. We weren't sure whether, he was, it was stated before the game he was only 50-50 to make it, but, it looked like he was going to play anyway. But perhaps no surprise that Deeney's not made the full 90 minutes there, Briz, even though he does look unhappy about it.
Yeah, I mean, there were rumours before the game that he was unfit and not ready to play. And, he always has unlucky for us, but he always has a great time against us. And I wonder if that was maybe in the manager's thinking, a bit like Glenn Murray does down at Brighton. But I've noticed we've changed formation now. Souček's dropped into a 3 defensive midfield across with Rice. and it just looks a little negative. So we're kind of almost sitting really, really deep, and inviting them to bring the ball on and just trying to hopefully hit them on the break through Antonio and Bowen. But it's a dangerous game to play, and they're just lobbing balls in left, right, and centre at our back four now.
Rio, Troy Deeney has left the field. Was our biggest concern as a group before the game. Is that good news for West Ham, or do you think the change might benefit Watford ultimately?
No, I think he's got a bit of an Indian sign over us, so I'm glad he's gone. And Andre Gray really doesn't offer much for me. Fresh legs might be a problem, but
right, had another pop from distance.
But yeah, no, I think
over for a corner.
Sorry, Deeney does.
Okay, thanks, Rio. Gnome, coming to you, you were just saying Rice has had another dig there.
Yeah, it got blocked away for a corner, but it was travelling. I think it might have been close enough to Foster for him not to be too concerned about. But yeah, he's obviously got the taste for it. So it's a corner on our right-hand side. Bowen's taking. So
okay, we'll stick with you for the moment.
Lots of handbags in the penalty area as usual. Corner comes across, and that's going to be Foster's to punch away. And well, it's gone. Noble puts the ball back in. That looks offside to me.
And me.
Well, it looked offside, but it's been played on for a corner, I think.
Okay.
Let's have a look. No, he's on. He's on. Definitely on. So yeah, we've got another corner out of this.
Okay.
Souček headed it across. Defender cleared it. Dawson, I think that was cleared it. So yeah, we're waiting for it to be taken now. It's Noble taking it on the left-hand side again. Let's see how he does with it. Again, it doesn't beat the first man. Cresswell heads it back in, but we need to be careful that we don't get caught in the break here.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Yeah, it definitely looked like an offside there. Just one thing I wanted to point out, Pinky, though we are approaching the final 20 minutes of the game, but I just...
well played, Ogbonna.
Ogbonna was great then.
Okay, Briz, take us through that.
Yeah, Ogbonna was great. They break them down, again, down their right or left. Ogbonna stuck with the player, stuck with right the way through, forced him to make the error, and it's gone out for a goal kick. Absolutely brilliant defending. Just stood strong and did exactly what was needed.
Terrific, great stuff. Pinky, I was just going to come to you because I wanted to. Yeah, I mean, I'm just seeing the rerun of the Ogbonna passage of play there. It really is fantastic defending. Pinky, I was just going to say, Michail Antonio. We sort of wondered if he'd gone a little bit quiet at the end of the first half, the start of the second, but he seems to really be working incredibly hard the last 10, 15 minutes and chasing everything down where he can.
Yeah, and I spoke earlier about Noble's attitude. Now, Antonio's another one who gives you all he's got. And we can all say, look, his first touch isn't exactly what you'd want, or he hasn't quite got everything you'd want in a player. But what he definitely has is a good attitude. And for my money, that's the starting point, because if you're not willing to work hard, you'll get done in this league. It's just the way it goes. It's the old saying, hard work.
Change is being made, by the way.
No, thank you, Pinky. No.
Chalabar's on for Decore, and Haller's just come on. I'm not sure who's come on for. I didn't see the board. He's come on for Fornals.
Okay, so West Ham's first substitution of the game now. Haller coming on for Fornals. Pinky, how do you see that affecting the lineup? Do we think Haller probably... I'm sure Moyes isn't going to go too up top, is he? Do we see Antonio dropping back into a more wide defensive role there?
I would expect it to do that, but I'm mindful of what we saw fully 6 months ago now, in a game where you had Haller and Antonio on the pitch. I think it was Southampton away, and we ended up with no!
Rio, talk us through it.
The ball's just kind of floated up to Haller, who's hit a speculative shot from about 25, 30 yards. And Foster's got a slight touch, I think, and diverted wide, but it would have been a great goal.
It was goal bound. It was goal bound. I mean,
Wasn't it just that again? You know, I'm a little bit behind all you guys tonight. Cresswell with the ball through there, just putting it over the top. Had a little look up. You know, it's quite deliberate. He's looked for Haller. The ball sort of bounced kindly for Haller, and it's actually a cushioned volley. I mean, it's not speculative, or he's just taking a hoof. I think he's spotted Foster, hasn't he? Gnome off his line, and he's tried to chip him.
Yeah.
And he's only inches away.
Yeah, it was that was well played by Haller. It was in the end, Foster did well to get anything on that at all because he was woefully out of position. We're building up on the left here. Cressel's out left. Get to play with Noble. We're still out left. Played it nicely down the line to Noble. We're still keeping it out there. We've got to throw in the end. Apropos nothing, but it was a terrific shot from Haller and deserved a goal for the intelligence of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was in. You could tell, couldn't you? I mean,
well, yes, I must confess, I thought we had number 4 on the board for the second game in a row there, but it wasn't to be. Well done. I mean, to be fair, let's give credit where credit's due. Pinky, Ben Foster, we've been critical of him since the word go really tonight, but that was a pretty special save, you know, to deny Haller from scoring.
Yeah, and fair play to him. I mean, you know, he had to make it because being no doubt it was goal bound and Haller had done his job. I mean, he's just won another header there. I headed it onto Antonio, who clips it across for the outside of his boot, but the header goes over the top from Souček. But a little bit better from West Ham the last 3 or 4 minutes, that's for sure. The point I was going to make earlier about Antonio and Haller, I actually felt their best contribution this season, I think, was Southampton away.
Yeah.
Had Antonio playing slightly ahead of Haller. Haller took a slightly deeper role and a more defensive role, and it worked really well. And I think Pellegrini may still have been the manager at the time. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. Yes, well, I mean, it's interesting to note, isn't it, that since Haller's come on, he's made a couple of really vital contributions, Briz, to the game. That shot that we've just spoken about narrowly over the bar and getting up strongly, rising highest in the air to win a ball on that was laid out to Antonio for the cross that came back in and was ultimately nodded over by Souček. But good signs from Haller, and you know the changes already kind of looked benefited us so far. We've only, you know, it's only a couple of minutes, but we're looking a little bit better.
It's something different, isn't it? I mean, it's something that Watford have got to deal with now that they weren't dealing with before. Before it was all a bit kind of, if you mark Antonio up, you know what you're getting from him, you know what you're getting from Bowen. Now we've got something different in the mix, and it just gives them something a bit different to think about. The midfielders have to drop a bit deeper, and we're starting to get a bit more possession back, which is brilliant.
Yeah, it's and much needed, and we're getting into that area of the game now, Rio, where you know we're sort of beginning to think about the final whistle. Perhaps less than 15 minutes to go. What's the word on the forum, Rio? How are we looking down there? Are people starting to feel a little bit more comfortable yet on the match thread?
Yeah, the panic's kind of rescinded a little bit. There was obviously a clamour for a substitution, which has come. I'd like to point out, Simon Hammer said Bowen has been phenomenal tonight. And I can't disagree with that at all.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of bits of criticism for Cresswell, but everyone seems a bit more content, a bit more happier. The nerves are going slowly.
Yes, and let's hope it stays that way. Briz, how are we looking on the chat? Is there, what's the general consensus on there? I mean, again, same as the forum, you know, are people sort of slightly more comfortable now?
Still a little nervous. Richie Van says we've handed the momentum to Watford by going a bit easy again.
Yeah.
Lewis says we knew they would come at us this half, so why not go out there and do as we were? Sick of seeing us sit back thinking the game is over. Spencer Neal saying Souček showboating with a step over and a nutmeg. So I mean, again, I think there's a little bit of nerves creeping in there. It's changed a little bit from the joviality that was there kind of when we were walking it. So, yeah, I think everyone's been West Ham fans long enough to know that the game's not over.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. I mean, we still have another 12 minutes of normal time to go, plus whatever referee Martin Atkinson deems necessary to add on. at the end of that. So there's still plenty of time for a Watford comeback. There is, of course, plenty of time for West Ham to grab a couple more. We shall see how that goes. Do let us know what you think of the
again,
game.
Rice.
No?
Sorry, just Rice again. I mean, there was an offside in there anyway. Rice wasn't, no. Just another little, nothing spectacular, but a very clever interception. What we were talking about earlier on, at half time, I think I said, you know, Watford have gone out there and they've been sitting there worrying about us.
Yeah.
And not playing their game. Yeah, their game has been purely to counter whatever we could do, and it wasn't working. Second half, that first 15, 20 minutes, they were playing. Since Haller's come on, it's given them something else to think about. And now they're, you know, I wouldn't say they're worried, but they're having to think about us a little bit more than they were for those first 20 minutes.
Yeah, it looks like Yarmolenko might be coming on. It's Pinky. It looks like Kevin Nolan's having a few words with him on the touchline there.
Yeah, and for my money, that's going to be a mistake. I certainly wouldn't bring him on, but you know, we'll see what the manager's thoughts are in a minute. But at the minute, you know, he's got Antonio who's dropped in slightly deeper on the left-hand side to sort of shore us up there. He's probably thinking, do you know what? I'll give Yarmo 10-minute run out, but mark my words, he'll make a mistake that costs us a goal.
Probably not the game to take that chance, really, but maybe Moyes is feeling that the legs are getting a little heavy out there. But as we were saying, I mean, West Ham doing okay. We're in the final 10 minutes, just approaching the final 10 minutes now. It's still West Ham United 3, Watford 1. Just having a quick look at the history of this particular fixture before we enter those last 10 minutes. There have been 47 meetings between the two sides prior to this evening's clash. Watford have won 12. There have been 7 draws, and West Ham have won 28. There won't be many teams in which West Ham have such a good record, I wouldn't have thought, especially amongst their peers in the Premier League currently. So, yeah, that kind of bodes well. Let's hope it's going to be 29 in about 15 minutes' time. West Ham were looking to make a second substitution. We've only had one sub so far. Sebastian Haller coming on for Pablo Fornals in the 72nd minute. We've seen 2 changes for Watford.
Yarmolenko coming on for Bowen.
Coming off.
It's Bowen. Yep, Briz.
Yeah, Yarmolenko's on for Bowen.
Okay, that is the second change. So both sides have made 2 changes now. Watford, as I said, Mariappa going off at half-time, Deeney going off after 67 minutes, Andre Gray coming on to replace him, but he's been reasonable. I don't like to tempt fate, of course, but he's been pretty ineffective so far. And since he came on, and Haller come on for West Ham, the Hammers have sort of regained control a little bit, Pinky, in this match, and we are sort of around 8 minutes away from added on time now. Looking good so far.
Yeah, and in fairness to David Moyes, you know, we had a bit of a wobble for 10 or 15 minutes. He didn't panic. But he made the necessary change. I mean, Watford have slung a ball in there that Welbeck really should have buried, but it's gone over the top. I'm not sure if he connected at all, but let me just see here now.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, it's come off him, is it?
So a chance for Watford.
Yeah, it's bounced off, I think, Danny Welbeck.
Bounced off his foot and gone over. He didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you're Nigel Pearson, you're going, that's the chance, that's the moment. And he's absolutely fluffed his lines there, Welbeck, and, you know, not a very good player. And I think we can see why he's at second division Watford, as they will be in about a fortnight, because it is not looking good for them.
No, it certainly isn't. I mean, what a strange chance. I mean, it's a beautiful ball whipped in from the right-hand side, right in that corridor of uncertainty that we've spoken about frequently in recent games. It's on a plate for Welbeck, and it's hit his standing foot by the looks of it, and just kind of bounced over the bar to safety. It really is a very, very odd miss there, Breeze, but good for West Ham. We're still 3-1 ahead.
Yeah, we're looking good for it now. I think that I can see this going right the way through, and I don't think we're going to get any more, but I can see this going through to the end now. We've steadied the ship a little bit. We had a real nervous moment. Ogbonna doing his Mr. Miyagi impression in the middle there was kind of maybe a bit nervous, but we're back on the break again now, and we're just looking a bit more comfortable. Watford, I think their heads are starting to drop, and we're starting to get on top of it again now.
Just seen images of Troy Deeney nursing his right knee in the subs area there with an ice pack wrapped around it. So, perhaps that wasn't as planned as I suggested it may be earlier on, that 67th minute change. Maybe it was, an exacerbation of the existing injury, which has caused that substitution. And Rio, it's really not the stuffing out of Watford, isn't it? I mean, Deeney, the man we love to hate, come on, looked really good for the first 20 minutes of that second half, but they seem to, they haven't really produced an awful lot since he went off.
No, precisely. Like Noble is for us, he's the beating heart of their team. He drives them on. He really gets them fired up. Losing him, they've lost their heart, they've lost their will. On the forum, just a little bit of praise for Jared Bowen.
Yeah.
Clyde Owen said great shift from Bowen. And WCP has just put another Oggy block. He's so consistent now. So credit where credit's due on the forum here.
Yes, and much deserved. I mean, I felt Jared Bowen. No?
Sorry, just Johnson's had some time on the right-hand side and taken it down the corner flag and got a corner out of it. Clever play because corner was the worst he was going to get. And he might even have got a cross in, but no, it was a clever little play from him. There was also a lovely little bit of hold-up play from Haller, took the ball down lovely. Corner comes across, and it's partly cleared. We're way out left now. But yeah, there's some nice hold-up play from Haller as well just before that. So
yeah, and possibly the first time
big across that, or that was Diop was stayed up for the corner.
Yeah,
Rice managed to get an early cross in from the left-hand side. Diop met it, but wasn't able to control the distance. The direction, or didn't have an awful lot of power in it either. So nothing came but goal kick.
Okay, good stuff. I was just going to point out there that I think that's the first time since our purple patch in the first half where we put together sort of more than 10 or 15 passes in the build-up to that corner, which was good to see. Pinky, we're close now, aren't we? We're getting to we're into the last few minutes now. You would expect Watford to be looking at this thinking the game's gone now.
Yeah, I mean, if we lose now, it's my fault because I've just had the thought, not even we can lose from here. But, I've just been sent an absolutely shocking video by somebody. It's really rocked me to the core. Young Fred and young Frank, they're so comfortable with us at 3-1. They're both sleeping on the sofa whilst West Ham's on the telly in the background. And all I'll say, lads, 3-1 wins don't come around that often, and you really can't afford to fall asleep during them. It's that's a schoolboy error there from the two boys.
Can I just say that Watford have made another change? Young Brazilian João Pedro has come on for Danny Welbeck, and he looks like he should be doing his own work at this time of night. Actually, he's that young, but Welbeck's off and Pedro is on.
I think that's the final substitution Watford can make, is it not? They've only made 3, but they have used 3 substitutes at 3 different times.
The first one was at half time, which doesn't count, does it? That's not one of the windows.
Oh, I see. That doesn't. Oh, yeah. Okay. So
it's opportunity. Yeah.
The things you learn you learn as you go along. There you go. Amateur stuff from me. They're not knowing that one, but
they made a change at half time, didn't they? So that one isn't one of the window opportunities. They're allowed 3 during play.
There you go. You live and learn. I didn't know that, so thank you, Gnome, for clearing that up. 3 substitute windows are allowed, but only during play. So Watford have 1 more to go if they want to. They can make 2 more subs, but they have only 1 more window. West Ham have made 2 substitutions so far. We have had Yarmolenko replace Bowen so far. And No?
Antonio's just skinned a couple and he's just bearing on through. And he's got a shot in, but it's just got blocked. Lovely run from Antonio. beat several players. A lovely bit of feet at the beginning of it, and Shane deserved the goal really for that. Earlier on, just before that, Watford had a chance where the cross came in from the right, which thankfully nothing came of it. But they're getting a little bit of joy down our right. Another cross in, and it's taken on the volley first time and volleyed high and wide and not very.
It's uncomfortable watching Aaron Cresswell these days. I'm sorry, but he's getting exposed game after game after game after game, and it's a little bit awkward watching him. His best days, I fear, long behind him, and that is a position that we need to upgrade in very, very seriously. Cresswell getting pulled apart at will. Shocking from him tonight. Very poor.
Yeah, sort of all at sea there, isn't he? The ball played over the top for the first one, and then the second time it comes in, and he's still not. We're just seeing a picture of Nigel Pearson going absolutely apoplectic on the touchline there. I'm not quite sure what that was in reference to, but I guess even he must be realising now, Briz, that the game's up as we approach the final minute of normal time.
Yeah, Nuno's just taken one for the team there and got away with it as well. Kind of pretended that he fell over and pushed the midfielder over. We're starting to look more comfortable now. Again, I agree with Pinky. Cresswell was awful at that last attack. Again, really, really exposed. But again, we're looking really comfortable. Just want to shout out to one of our other moderators, actually. So Chalks is having a bit of a tough time at the moment. And I really hope tonight's cheered him up a little bit. And we wish him all the best for tomorrow. So all the best, Chalks.
Yeah,
good luck, mate.
All the best, buddy. And we look forward to seeing you back on one of the streams again soon when things are a little bit easier. While we're giving shouts out, I'm going to give a shout out to my boy today, Harry. It was his 12th birthday. And we were really lucky to get a load of people. I said that kids don't seem to get cards. When we were kids, we used to get loads of birthday cards. He's only got a few this year. So I put a thing out on Twitter just asking people to say happy birthday to him. And he got some wonderful messages back from the West Ham family. And he actually got one from David Cross, our 1980 FA Cup.
Oh, terrific.
Fantastic.
And it's one of Harry's favourite games. He watches it over and over again, and he was absolutely made up to get that message from Crossy. So if
nice one, Psycho. Yeah.
If by some way, Crossy, you're watching this, or someone that you know is, I just want to thank you personally from the bottom of my heart for that message, because you made my little man's day with that. So thank you. But thank you to everybody who responded, because it was made up by all your messages. Anyway, we are now into added on time at the end of this one. West Ham are really just minutes away now from Premier League survival. Surely, Pinky, this is it.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the points tonight. Even Haller there making a couple of tackles. I have to say, I think he's been very good since he's come on.
He has.
So perhaps not 45 million wasted. So if the chairman's watching this, you can release the next part of his payment as well, I suggest. So he's done his bit tonight.
Yeah, he certainly has. Came on. It's funny enough. It was a bit like, now, was it the Chelsea game where he had the chance within about 30 seconds of coming? No, it was Burnley, wasn't it? When Pope saved. He had very similar thing happen tonight. Chance very, very early on. When he tried to lob Foster. He's really done well. He's come in and, we've been worried about his work rate and his ability to hold the ball up before, but there's certainly been no signs of that. I think Briz, since he came on tonight, and when did he come on? He came on in the 72nd minute as a replacement for Fornell. Since when? Watford, couple of half chances, but, we've not really been threatened, have we?
No, not at all. I think we've been really comfortable now. I have to give a shout as well to Johnson. He's been looked every much the senior player. He's made Fredericks look silly, really, because the way he's handled this Watford team tonight has been brilliant. And he's really kind of solidified that back four. If we can just get a replacement for Cresswell in the summer, we should have a really good base to push on.
Yeah, I mean, it's often said, Briz, isn't he, that out of Johnson and Ngakia, Johnson was considered to be the primary candidate to take that potential first team slot. We just haven't seen him really because of all the injuries.
Yeah, he's looked much better than Ngakia did. He's much more assured, much more comfortable on the ball. He's good coming forward as well, which he's not headless chicken like Frederick seems to be at the moment. So it all bodes well for us, I think.
It certainly does. We are in the final 2 minutes of the 5 added on at the end of this
We're
game.
just bringing on another sub.
No.
Yeah, just another sub. Balbuena's coming on for Antonio, who's just run the ball down at the corner and won a throw in down at the corner flag. And poor old Antonio was absolutely knackered. Fair play to him. He's had a good game. The other thing to note is that Sky have given their man the match to Ogbonna.
Do we agree with that, gentleman? Pinky, I'll start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very fair shout by Sky. You know, and oh dearie me, not the way to do your 500th game, holding the ball in the corner, Mark Noble. No, you're a better footballer than that, mate. You're better than that. But yeah, Ogbonna tonight's been excellent, no doubt about it. And I'd also actually, for Watford, I'd pick out Will Hughes, despite his quite disgraceful challenge on Noble earlier in the game. I think Hughes has been head and shoulders above any other Watford player. And should Watford drop, I think a cheeky little bid for him, we could do worse.
Interesting. And I mean, Watford are going to be in deep trouble, aren't they, Briz, after this one? But just touching on that, Briz, would you agree on Ogbonna for man of the match, or do you have someone else in mind?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Ogbonna's been brilliant at the back today. He's apart from that one incident for the goal, he's dealt with everything that's come through. I suppose my only other shout would have been Bowen. He's worked his socks off again. Yeah. But yeah, and I agree with Pinky. I think Will Hughes has been Watford's best player, and I think we could do worse than make a bid for him.
Will Hughes was, of course, booked in the 35th minute for a rather nasty tackle on Mark Noble. Looked like he went over the top, stood on his foot, perhaps. It's one of those things. It's a midfielder's challenge, but he's been exceptional. Otherwise, Rio, the two guys, Pinky and Briz, have gone for Ogbonna as man of the match as we enter the very final few seconds before the final whistle. Would you agree with that, or do you again have someone else in mind?
Absolutely, Ogbonna's been head and shoulders our best player today.
Yes,
say that we've just won,
and that is it. West Ham United are up to 15th place. Have to calm down a bit. 15th place in the Premier League. We've beaten the final score here at the London Olympic Stadium. Is West Ham United 3, Watford 1. They're still playing on my stream. This is how far behind I've 95 minutes.
You're still playing the 1980 Cup final on your stream.
They are. Trevor Brookings just scored and Brian Clough is about to tell us all about it. 95 minutes and 8 seconds is when the final whistle went. The players are hugging each other. Rice, Noble, Cresswell, Ogbonna, Balbuena, Souček, all in a big man hug. They know it. They know they've done enough now. That goal difference sends us up another place in the Premier League, as does the 3 points, more importantly. And that really, surely, Pinky, that is Premier League survival assured now.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, 13 goals on the goal difference, I think, compared with Bournemouth, something like that.
Yeah.
Even if we take an absolute stuffing from Manchester United, which I don't think we will, by the way, but even if we did, Villa aren't going to put 5 past us, not even if me and Gnome were the centre-backs that night. So, I think we're safe for the season. But I think more than that, we need to be looking up the table. I think we need to be hunting down Crystal Palace. We need to be hunting down Newcastle United. And actually, every place on the table is a couple of £1 million of merit money from Sky TV. And a couple of places, you've actually got half a fullback, if you know what I mean. 4 or 5 million quid.
Yeah.
That's a sizable deposit on a player. So there's plenty to play for in terms of money. But the players know. They know that they've done just enough. But again, without being too negative, please, no more seasons like this. What are we doing? If you look at that, the 2 squads tonight, when we've got players like Felipe Anderson on the bench, Yarmolenko on the bench, Dirty Jack Wilshere on the bench, we should not be anywhere near the wrong end of the table. And shame on us for another poor season at the wrong time of the year. All the damage done in the first half of the season. But fair play to David Moyes, he's actually done his job. Hats off to him.
Yeah, good stuff. I think we'll come back to that a bit later, but I mean, it's a valid point you make about the bench. Just looking at that, Haller started on the bench, £45 million. Yarmolenko on the bench, £17 million. Manuel Lanzini on the bench, £9 million after a season on loan. Felipe Anderson, £34 million. Another one who's not good enough to make the team. Wilshere on a £100,000 a week contract. And then you've got Balbuena, Masuaku, who cost peanuts in comparison, but there's all the money. It's on the bench. It's not on the field where it could be, be made the most of. It's something, we'll address that in due course, but let's just keep to tonight's game for now briefly. No, are we safe now? That's it?
Pretty much, isn't it? I mean, we're what, 6 points clear of the two teams currently in the trapdoor positions, which would basically mean both of them winning both their last games by decent scores and us being hammered by decent scores. Okay, the Villa game, the goals are effectively doubled because every one they score is one less to us, but I think that should be just about enough. 3 points when we beat Man United in midweek, that'll sort it out nicely.
Great stuff. Rio, any concerns at all now? I mean, it's not just, of course, Bournemouth and Villa that have to win both games to get above us. Watford and Brighton have also got to pick up points. We're above all four now. No,
I think that's it now. I think we're safe. We do it the hard way every single time, but we're there. Just like I say on the forum, Smuts has put job well done, lads. Parker's here. Must be safe now. There's a very interesting comment from Mfrex Dave. And he said, just trying to bring up again, my iPad's been a little bit slow. But basically, he was referring to the fact that Martin Tyler and Gary Neville spent most of that game tatting Declan Rice around. Their praise for him was so high, naturally so, because he's a great player. But it's almost if they want him to leave, to go to one of their bigger clubs. And there's a little bit of dissent on the forum because it's disgraceful, really. As pundits, they shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But let them talk. We don't care. I mean, we're going to just enjoy the moment for now, Briz. All the guys there seem to think we're safe. I mean, it's difficult to see anyway now, isn't it, that West Ham United could be relegated from this position?
Yeah, I mean, I've just had a look at the table and we look safe, barring some kind of disaster. I think that we're okay. But again, you've got to look back forensically and say, what the hell are we doing this season? Team we had at the beginning. I take on board the whole thing about Roberto. There was an interesting post on the forum, actually, that said we went 24 games and only picked up 15 points. And that's where the damage was. And I think that, you've got to look back and say this is a wasted opportunity this season. We really had a chance to do something with the players we brought in. We've done nothing. And God help us if we get in this position again. Something's got to be looked at behind the scenes.
Yeah, good stuff. And also, Briz, just touching on Pinky's briefly stepped away from the screen, so I'll come to you on this. Pinky did mention the fact that we should be looking upwards once again rather than what's behind us now. He mentioned the fact that both Crystal Palace and Newcastle are within reach. Now, looking at their remaining fixtures, doesn't it make a refreshing change not to be looking at who Watford, Bournemouth and Villa are playing? Palace, who have been in pretty damn poor form in recent weeks, have to go to Wolves next Monday for their penultimate game of the season, before hosting Tottenham at Selhurst Park next Sunday. So you look at those and think, there's not many easy pickings for Palace left there. As for Newcastle, they travel to Brighton. Brighton now may be looking over their shoulder thinking, perhaps we just need another point. And then they host Liverpool on the final day. So, Briz, I mean, do you agree with Pinky? Do you think there's a possibility we could, finish even higher in the division this season?
Do you know what? Again, just looking back at the table, I think we can. Newcastle, to me, have looked absolutely awful.
Yep.
Since we played them, actually. Crystal Palace, again, they're on the beach. They're on holiday. They have been almost since the restart. So there's a possibility. I mean, I think we'll take 3 points against Villa. I'm not sure about the Man United game. I think they're having a bit of a resurgence. They've still got things to play for.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can certainly push on, and I think this is a good platform. We should be looking not to lose any of our remaining two games. and actually saying, steadying the ship and going into next season with some ambition.
Yeah, absolutely. It's two very, very different games for West Ham United to go. The last game of the season, I would imagine Villa are fairly happy in a way that we've beaten Watford tonight because it means that, if they need, well, they do need those final 3 points on the final day. If we have nothing to play for, they would expect to, have a little boost from that perhaps. West Ham have to go to Manchester United prior to that if we are to stand any chance of finishing above the two teams immediately above us now. And I'm just scrolling down the list to see the last time in which we won at Old Trafford. And I'm just thinking we have to go right back to about 2001, 2002, perhaps. I don't know if anyone can... Oh, sorry. No, of course. How can I forget?
2000.
I was there. I was
You were there with
day.
me.
We were in ecstasy. It was, of course,
I was in plaster.
game. When
I was in plaster on crutches, wasn't I?
Indeed, of course, that's right. Yes, you were. When they memorably came out in the second half, and the Man United fans chanted in unison, "Send them down, send them down." But even despite bringing on the likes of Ronaldo and Beckham, I think maybe not Beckham, but Ronaldo scored a couple of others at half time. We still
you
hung
turned
on.
up late, as I recall. Again,
Yes, quite possibly. But that early goal was enough for West Ham. The last time we won there, so it would take something. But yes, Pinky is quite right. I think we should be looking up, not down now. We will be, of course, talking. I think perhaps Sunday for the next podcast, next Mod Pod, we'll have a look now. Now safety is pretty much assured. We can look at what to do in the summer in terms of transfers. Now we did find out earlier this week that the transfer window, Rio, is going to remain open until October. Now, this is off the top of my head, so I could be slightly wrong, but I think it's October the 5th for the transfer window in general, and then October the 16th for domestic transfers between the Premier League and the EFL. But between now and then, I mean, do you see West Ham sort of doing much business, in the window? Or is Moyes going to be looking to pull out one or two from, the Championship again?
Yeah, he said that he'd like to look at Championship players. They're younger, they're hungrier, they've got something to prove.
Yeah.
My only fear is, are we going to do the same and leave it to the very last minute, for usual, have the deadline day madness, and don't go to bed business, all that kind of nonsense come up. You can push the window back as far as you like, and we'll leave it to the last bloody minute to do anything.
That, I think, is a guaranteed. We did see earlier, of course, if you were keeping your eye on KUMB News earlier this week, you would have noticed that it was the 9th, it was the 9th anniversary of the day we had Ida Gudjohnsen in for a medical for the third time, talking about pushing things to the final whistle on the third occasion on which he rejected a move to West Ham, that time going to AEK Athens. It's not going to happen again because he's retired. But Rio, I think it might have been you pointed out he has 3 sons. So there could be another Gudjohnsen saga again in the near future. Who knows? Who knows? Briz, Newcastle, we sort of touched upon Newcastle and Palace. Do you still, let's just think about what's going on beneath us now, and we're reasonably happy that we're not going to be involved. Do you still see Bournemouth and Villa following Norwich down to the Championship?
The only team I think might get out of it is Bournemouth. I watched the last game that they played in. They've still got some real heart and some real fight, and they seem to play for each other. I think Villa are done. I think Villa are going to go with Norwich, and it's just perm one from the kind of 3 then. But
yeah,
between Brighton, Watford, and Bournemouth. But Bournemouth, for me, look like they could pull themselves out of it. They haven't got the fixtures are a little bit kinder for them, and I think they've got some quality in the team. They're playing for each other. Their managers kept their heads and kind of kept them going, and I can see them getting out of it, at the expense of someone else.
Yeah, looking at the remaining fixtures, Villa, of course, face Arsenal at Villa Park next week before, as we all know, come to Stratford for a day out next Sunday. It's not going to be one that we're going to be unduly concerned about. We can just enjoy it now, sit back and have a bit of fun. Bournemouth, Southampton at home. What a game that is for the Saints. And wouldn't they love to send the Cherries down to the Championship? And then, of course, they go to Everton, as we've seen against Villa. I think Everton, to use one of Pinky's favourite expressions, of 1 foot on the beach already. I mean, they really haven't been playing particularly well. So, Rio, do you still think it's going to be, you know, those two that are there to make up the final bottom three?
Yeah, I've got to say I do. I just don't think that, despite Bournemouth's improvements, they've got enough in the tank. And Villa, they lack that cutting edge. I mean, it proved yesterday. I think they were in the first half. I can't remember the guy's name now, but he missed an absolute sitter, and that's going to cost him big time. It's not good enough up front. Never have been all season.
Yeah, they've not been able to score goals, have they? That really has just killed them off. Gnome, do you agree with the guys? Do you think Villa or Bournemouth, or, you know, do you think Bournemouth out of the two are the ones most likely to escape?
I think the bottom three at the end of the season are what they are now. I think that's going to be the situation. Both Bournemouth and Villa have that air of things going wrong, and you know, that old cliche about when you're down, things don't really go for you. And there's an air of that about both Bournemouth and Villa. I mean, Bournemouth against Man City, you know, gave it a go and came quite close at the end to getting an equaliser. And you just thought, well, you know, if you'd been further up the table, well, it didn't matter. That might have gone in, you know. And so I think, and to be honest, though, I'm not much enamoured of Watford. I'm quite looking forward to the OV this weekend, and yeah, I'm not much enamoured of them, and I have no sort of brief for any of those teams really. But if I could choose one to go down out of the three fighting for it, Watford, and then I'm not fussed about it goes down with them, sort of thing.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, thanks, No. Briz, couple of guys on the chat on you who I see there have kind of given their ideas of who they think is going to go down with Norwich. Do you just want to tell us about that briefly?
Yeah, I've just lost it off my phone, so give me a second and I'll just drag it back up. But I just wanted to mention, picking back on Name's point, Watford have Man City and Arsenal to play. When they're going to be lucky to get anything out of that. I don't know. I just got a funny feeling Watford could be the ones to drop down. But yeah, Chris Dolby says, I think Bournemouth will do it. That's why it's so important we won tonight. As he says, Watford will lose both games and one of Villa or Bournemouth will survive. I think Bournemouth. Everton have tailed off and they'll be up for Southampton. So again, it's a kind of mixed bag on the YouTube chat as well.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Breeze, for that. And sorry for throwing you in at the
That's
deep
all
end
right.
there. I didn't realise you didn't have your tablet up and running. Pinky, you seem to think that Watford might be struggling as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, terrible final two games they've got, you know, and you could almost tell with the way they came out at the second half. Pearson has probably said to them, look, you've got to get something here tonight.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you've got Man City and Arsenal, and the games aren't getting any easier. And I think that's a huge defeat for Watford tonight. And, you know, if I was Eddie Howe, I might just be looking at that thinking, do you know what? We've got a chance now. We've got a chance. And I think Everton one of their games? Is that right?
Bournemouth round off their programme with games against Southampton at home and then Everton at Goodison Park on the final day.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to say, you know, if Goodison Park was full of Evertonians, you wouldn't see them rolling over on the last day of the season. But, you know, you're looking at them now, you're thinking an empty ground, nothing to play for. If I was Eddie Howe, I'd be saying that is the game. That is the one where a win at Goodison Park and we stay up, because Watford ain't getting another point, that's for sure. And, you know, that dreadful defeat for Watford tonight. And for me personally, I mean, there's a wonderful calf 200 yards away from Vicarage Road. And then, you know, the tragedies that's going to bring to me, because there's nothing decent near Bournemouth to eat. So I'd prefer Watford to stay up, but I think it's Bournemouth that's going to pip them at the post. I really do.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Goal difference is interesting at the moment. Bournemouth minus 25, Watford minus 24. and Villa aren't all that much different. They're minus 27, so there's only a few goals between that lot.
Yeah, it really is neck and neck, and to think that up until 2 weeks ago we were, right in amongst that, weren't we, Briz? We were sort of looking at the fixtures, thinking, well, you never know, but here we are. There's 2 games to go, 36 games on the clock, and we're pretty much safe now. We've done it.
Yeah, and you got to credit David Moyes. So again, if you look on the forum, you'll see historically I've been a massive critic of him. I thought when he came in, he was the wrong person. I thought it was a retrograde step. Still do, if I'm being honest. But I think he's done his job. I think he's kept the team up. He's knitted them together. He's got us playing again on the, keeping the ball down, playing well. And we've been a bit ambitious this time when we've been playing as well, which under him last time we weren't. So, I've got to give him credit and hold my hands up and say, for all the doubts I had, he's turned it around, and good luck to him. And he deserves his shot. I'd still like to see us with a younger coach coming in with a director of football over the top, but that's not going to happen until we get rid of these owners. We're going to be in that perpetuating circle of kind of replacing managers every time things go a little bit south. So good luck to him, and I hope that next season we push on.
Yeah, Rio Briz saying there that David Moyes, he's obviously confounded his critics in recent weeks. A lot of people had written him off, said that West Ham were, in trouble, no chance of avoiding the drop with him in charge. But here he is, he's done it now. Interesting piece for those who follow KUMB's articles. Good piece today by James Wilson, suggesting that perhaps Eddie Howe might be the man to replace Moyes if he were to go. Someone fairly close to you, as we know, suggested Sean Dyche in another piece for the site a couple of weeks ago, your son Rob, who also provides some excellent copy for the site. But do you agree with Briz? Do you think that we don't need a replacement now? Moyes should be given that extra season now, to have a full pre-season and build, or at least begin to build his own squad.
Absolutely. I was never a fan of him. Still not. But we can't keep chopping and changing managers and expecting to get success. We need to get a bit of continuity going, let him plan ahead. He's bought really well in the January window. Souček and Bowen have been amazing signings and a real key part to us staying up. If he can repeat that in the forthcoming window and again in the following January, keep him on. And if he does a success, keep him further. Let's build something. Let's not chop and change, looking for glory, looking for stuff that we're not going to achieve. It does us no good whatsoever. As for Eddie Howe, I think he's obviously a decent manager, but I think Gnome pointed out earlier in the season when we first started doing these, maybe he's just Bournemouth, and Bournemouth is it. Yeah. He's been incredibly loyal to his players who brought him through the ranks and through the league. And I think he's been too loyal because we're an aging side, and it's beginning to show. The cracks have begun to show. When he has had money to spend, he's not bought particularly well. David Brooks has been excellent, but the likes of Jordan Ibe wasn't. Solanke hasn't been, and he paid big money for them. When he's had money to spend, invariably it's gone completely wrong. So I think taking Eddie Howe out of the South Coast is a massive mistake. I like his ethos, but I just don't think he can cope anywhere else.
Great stuff. Thanks, Rio. Some interesting comments there. And how often do you see that? A manager like that who's great at tinkering, give them money, and it kind of all falls apart. Gnome, Rio saying that continuity is key, especially at West Ham. This is obviously a debate we've had before recently, but what are your views on David Moyes and next season?
I'm with Rio, really. Wouldn't be my first choice. Still not a great fan of things, but we've done the sort of chopping and changing bit. Last time he was here, he was only ever going to be there till the end of the season. This time round, he's got a contract. I can't remember how long it is. We need that bit of continuity. We need the stability. We need him to be able to actually now start to mould a team that is the way he wants things. He's coming, he's taken over. We've got 2 players that he's signed there, really, haven't we? Both of whom have acquitted themselves very well since arriving. So that's a good sign. And as I say, I mean, I've said it, and said it before. I'll say it again. Nothing at all personal about the fact I'd prefer somebody else to Moyes. I've been in his company quite a lot of times. He's a nice, genuine, honest bloke, and wherever he is, I sort of wish him well. But yeah, I think stick with him for next season. Give him time to see if he can do a job that is not just rescuing us from relegation, and see how it goes. We need that stability, continuity. Rio said it much better than I'm saying it. Just to add to something, I've just seen Nigel Pearson's interview, which is nice and funny. He said they were carrying passengers in the first half, and he wouldn't be drawn on what he said in the changing rooms at half time. But they tried to get him to say it was unacceptable, which he wouldn't be drawn on that. But he did say it wasn't a performance that he would have expected. He did have the look of a haunted man.
Yeah, very much so. Tough position that he's in.
We've
now
yet
with
to
2
see
games
Moyes,
to go.
by the way, in case you're wondering.
Okay, keep us up to date if Moyes is anything
will.
particularly interesting there. Pinky, just we touched on the fact that towards the end of the game that we had all our big money signings on the bench there. Yarmolenko, 17 million. Anderson, 35 million. Haller, 45 million. Nearly 100 million pounds on the bench in just the shape of just 3 players. Massive money for West Ham United. David Moyes has come in. He spent 23 million on Jared Bowen in January. Took Souček on loan. It's going to be turned into a permanent transfer now. We think around 13 millions. 35 million pound well spent, do you think?
Absolutely. And one of the things in the modern era, I mean, the numbers are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Where we should have the advantage over a club like Bournemouth. We're a London club. It's not the hardest sell in the world. Come and live in one of the best cities in the world. Alternatively, ply your trade in a sleepy old pensioner town on the south coast called Bournemouth. And we say Eddie Howe's spent some money when he's been given it. Can you imagine how much money they've got to chuck at players to persuade them to go and play in a 12,000 capacity stadium? So the job is very much harder in terms of attracting players, so the money gets distorted for that reason. But for us, boys, Jordan Hugill will be thrown at him to the rest of his days, no question. But credit where it's due. Souček looks a fabulous player, and he's chipping in with some outstanding performances. Bowen, a bit of a meat and potatoes kind of guy, but works hard. He works hard, and sometimes he's a world-beating flash, player. And you look at the players that we've got sitting on the bench, and I'm pretty consistent around transfer windows. I always start with who we need to move out. Always, who do we need to move out? And Felipe Anderson, for my money, no, not consistent enough, doesn't contribute enough. He needs to go. Yarmolenko, someone described him recently as a showreel player, a highlights player.
Yeah.
Another one, not justifying his fee for my money, probably costs too much to be sitting on the bench every week. We've got to look at the fullbacks again, because Cresswell slaughtered again tonight. I'm sorry, mate. It's time to move him on. Fredericks turning into a bit of a sick note, I'm afraid. Yes, he joined us on a free, but as we all know, there's no such thing as free. Karen will tell us that all the time. So we need another overhaul, but, and here's the big but, we also know the more players you change in a window, the greater the likelihood you'll end up at the wrong end of the table. And the manager's job is going to be difficult. I think we should stick with Moyes. I think he's earned the right to have a full season in charge. I think he has. And the telltale sign for me tonight, when the Rice goal was scored, clearly the manager has been saying to Rice, in listening to DL and saying, look, you've got a shot on your son, have a crack. So he's done it. Rice, of course, has gone herring across to Moyes to say, you told me to do that, boss, and I did it. Half a dozen other players are piling in the back of it. That doesn't look like an unhappy squad to me. And that's got to reflect well on the manager, surely. And however much we as supporters have our views in terms of, you know, we want this bloke, that bloke, or the other bloke to be in charge, you know, he's the boss of the players. It's the players that need to say, do you know what? We trust the manager and we want to do it for the manager. And just one final comment, if I may, looking at the table again. I'm looking at Everton. You know, a month ago, I was critical because, you know, we didn't even have it in our thought process when Ancelotti was available to even think about getting him in at West Ham United. Well, do you know what? It's not inconceivable that the gap between Everton and West Ham come the end of the season is going to be no more than 3 points. Big spending Everton, you know, who have had a nothing season now. Okay, poor start, Ancelotti steadied the ship, but they have spent a fortune, Everton Football Club. And, you know, I think the lesson for both Everton and West Ham United is not how much you spend, it's how well you spend it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you know, Sheffield United and Burnley are testament to that, aren't they? Two teams that, you know, are both challenging for a European spot. I mean, Sheffield United, until last night, were still in the hunt for a Champions League spot. They must be the first team to be promoted from the Championship to be in with a shout of a top four place in the Premier League. The first one, I would imagine, or at least for a very long time anyway. So, yeah, I mean, Pinky making sense, as always, again there. So it's not what you spend, it's how you spend it. We've seen the proof is in the pudding, isn't it? We've seen Haller, as I don't need to make that point again. 3 players started on the bench tonight that cost the club £100 million. West Ham United. We're not talking about Liverpool, Manchester City, or another club of that size and with those resources. West Ham United, £100 million in 3 players starting on the bench tonight, unable to get a start in the team against players like Antonio, who cost £7 million, who did, and Jared Bowen, an up-and-coming young player, hungry young player from the Championship, who did. We're going to be wrapping up fairly soon. It is nearly 10:30, and we're all kind of a little bit exhausted and sort of in shock, I think, at West Ham managing to win this one a little bit easier than we perhaps thought. I should actually give a quick shout out to Paul Walker, who on the Mod Pod on Sunday night predicted a 3-1 win for West Ham in his prediction. So I hate to say it, but I think that might take the guests top of our weekly prediction league above the rest of
I should say, Graham, that, you know, I went for 2-1. And
yes.
Most weeks, my beautiful girlfriend asks me what my prediction was, and she occasionally sticks a few bob on it. And when she asked me, I think it was last night, I said, well, I've actually gone 2-1, but you know, I think it might be 3-1. And she lumped on 3-1. So not an awful lot, but she's 50 quid richer than she was before kickoff. So
well, that's
add a goal to mine in future.
Well, that's nothing to be sneezed at, is it? A nice bullseye
Yeah.
to add to what's been a wonderful night for West Ham. Also in the points this week, I can see him smiling over there on the claret sofa. Briz with a couple of points for predicting a 2-1 win. Unfortunately, nothing for the rest of us who between us predicted draws and defeats, but who cares? I mean, I'm sure we're all quite happy at that, given the fact that West Ham are pretty much safe from the threat of relegation. How did it happen? Let's have a quick recap. Mikhail Antonio opened the scoring after 6 minutes. Thomas Souček scored his 3rd goal since arriving at West Ham, his 3rd goal in 5 games, actually, in the 9th minute, with an absolutely towering header. A fantastic goal. Really, really good team build-up as well. I think it's one that you're probably going to have to watch a few times to appreciate just how good that goal was. And I think when we get to next week and we look at the KUMB season awards and pick a goal of the season, I've got a funny feeling that Souček goal might just feature in there somewhere. The 3rd goal coming from Declan Rice. His 1st goal of the season, his 3rd goal in West Ham colours. just left the goalkeeper, Ben Foster, rooted to the spot, or to his knees, actually, to the spot, as the ball sailed over him into the corner to put West Ham 3 up. There was a goal for the visitors 4 minutes after the restart. Troy Deeney took a shot off the post, a shot rebounded off the post, which he calmly placed into the corner. As Pinky says, probably more credit to him for that than I initially gave him, because it was quite a clever finish. And although Aaron Cresswell probably just about got a toe to it, it was placed well enough into the corner that he couldn't do anything. That was all Watford could produce. We were getting kind of worried at that point. We needn't have been, because West Ham held on comfortably to win 3-1. I just want to, before we kind of do wrap up, I'd just like to go back and end the show with a brief word from everybody about the man, the Cockney Cruyff, as Mr. Palermo has labelled him, who is making his 500th appearance as a first-team player for West Ham United tonight. His first appearance was 16 seasons ago in a 2-0 Carling Cup win over Southend United. He's 33 years old. He's now made more appearances than any other player in a West Ham shirt, bar 9 absolute genuine legends, of which I think, Breeze, is it fair to say now 500 appearances in the can? Mark Noble is a bona fide West Ham legend.
Absolutely, and I think he's, we've left the bowling, we lost our soul. He's the only one keeping it alive. He's the one thing that reminds me back of the old West Ham United, not West Ham London, West Ham United. Is a guy who's every game, he may not be the best every game, but he puts his effort in, he fights, he understands what it means to us as fans, and he's just a legend. And we can all knock him for his legs, saying his legs are gone now and he's getting a bit older, but do you know what, the effort's there and the passion's there from him, and I'll take that every time.
Lovely stuff. Rio, Mark Noble, 500 games at the heart of West Ham's midfield. He's been there for all the big games. He's been there for all the small games as well. He's just been there constantly. The one, thing that the conduit perhaps between the fans and the club, or these times when, we look at the club and think it's going away from us. There's Mark Noble, the Canning Town boy, West Ham through and through. What a fantastic career.
Yep. I don't think he'll be truly appreciated until his retirement. Then it'll be a case of you don't realise what you had until it's gone. In the Premier League era, this day and age, to play 500 games for a single club is an immense feat. And I don't know if we'll ever see it again for West Ham, because modern football's changed the dynamic of longevity for players forever. I've been one of his critics in the past, but he really is the heartbeat of our side. When he's absent, it makes a massive difference. You notice it. And how are we going to cope when he finally decides to hang up his boots is another matter. It's going to be a really tricky thing. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. He's been a tremendous servant of West Ham. He's been a tremendous player. And like I said, I don't think it's really going to be appreciated until the day he hangs up his boots and retires.
Thanks, Rio. Great stuff. Gnome, Rio says that Mark Noble doesn't get the appreciation probably that he actually deserves. Here's your opportunity to do exactly that.
It's uncanny timing, because they're just interviewing him now, and his first comment was, well, Jeff, he says, this is going to sound silly, but I'm not actually happy with the way we played today. He's got the biggest grin on his face, and he's saying, who'd have thought, like it was only 17, 18 years ago, I was trying to sneak into matches without a ticket. So, no, fair play is, as I say, it's one of those ones that, I think, as Briz said, that his legs have seen better days, so have mine. It won't happen again. It's simply sad nature of modern football. Hats off to him. I thought we had a superb game tonight, and it's proud that he's a Hammer, and I'm as proud that he's a Hammer as he is as proud to be a Hammer. So it's just looking at him now. He's still talking now, and he's talking about. He says it's a cliche, but you know, this is the club I've loved, and you know, I've always dreamed of playing. And you know, you want to see that in a player. I know it's not the modern way because players get transferred left, right, and centre. And
yeah,
you know, you look at the core of the West Ham team, and you know, Mark Noble's probably the only real local lad. You know, and you just don't get that these days. And maybe it's just we're all getting on a bit, and you know, that is a thing of the past, and perhaps we should let it go. But I for one, am proud that we've still got at least one in there, and he's one of ours. And you know, they've just asked him has he ever thought of coaching, and he's saying no, not at the moment because I'm still playing. So good luck to him. Hats off, salute.
Yeah, lovely stuff. I love that, Gnome. Thank you very much. Finally, to the man who christened Mr. Noble the Cockney Cruyff earlier this evening, Mr. Pink Palermo. 500 games, the 10th most appearances in a claret and blue shirt at first team level for West Ham United at a time when people are lucky to reach a fifth of that. What a player, what a career.
Absolutely. And, you know, he's given everything he's got for West Ham United. And thank God he had, because do you know what? In the last 16 years, we've had, one or two decent seasons. We've had a huge disruption, whether it's the Icelandics coming in, going bust, whether it's the takeover from Golden Sullivan, the stadium move, all the rest of it. And they keep plugging away season after season. Mark Noble holding it all together. And for me, one of the main things with Nobes, he's usually available for selection. You know, it's an understated part of the game.
Yeah.
But why do managers like players like Mark Noble? Because he's fit and available. You know, you don't read stories about, oh, I've got a back strain and I'm feeling a bit tired. And, you know, there was a time I was lucky enough to go up to the training ground. I was up at Rush Green and Nobes walked in. And I just said, wow, how fit do you look, mate? You look fantastic. And he laughed, said hello and all the rest of it. And a fortnight later, out comes the story that had been playing with something like a double or a treble hernia. And, you know, it's just an example of his professionalism, even to a supporter. He gives nothing away, nothing that will help the opposition. He's a top-class professional. And I'm just looking at some of the famous footballers in the Premier League era that he's played more Premier League games than. Ray Parlour, you know, a solid player for the Arsenal, or Nobes has gone past him. Robbie Fowler, very famous player for Liverpool and I think Leeds United, Nobes has gone past him. Gary Cahill won't play as many games in the Premier League as Mark Noble. You know, he is knocking players off. Ashley Cole, you know, he's got him in his sights. Damien Duff. These are top players who performed for many years in the Premier League.
Yep.
That people miss the pace of this league to actually get through. You know, for Nobes, 380 games in the Premier League and 500 games for West Ham United, and still be doing it. It's just incredible. You know, people will tell you, oh, what about Ryan Giggs or Gareth Barry? These are freaks of nature. This is a league where if a player gets past 300 Premier League games going forward, he's done well. Careers are getting shorter, and he's done everything for West Ham United. 60 goals in total, led the team, brilliant.
Fantastic. Some great summaries, gentlemen. Thank you very much for the words there. Mark Noble, what a superstar. What can we say? What a legend. And he definitely is now. The word is bandied around far too easily these days. But I think we can all say we have a bona fide legend of West Ham United still on our books, still giving his all and still doing his best and still performing well and doing a great job. Mark Noble, 500 appearances. We all salute you, sir. Thank you very much for everything you've done for us. We're going to end the show right about now. Before we do so, I'm just going to dip into the chat and the forum just for one final summary of what you, our viewers and readers, have been saying. Briz, I shall come to you first, buddy. Tell us what's going on in the chat in YouTube right now.
I'm glad you did this. My phone's died, so I've gone back in there. I've been at it all night. I had about 3%. I'm thinking he's not going to come to me again, and my phone's actually completely gone.
I shall step in because no, I'm not, because I haven't got the window open now. I've closed it down in lieu. Apologies to everyone who's been commenting on YouTube chat. Thank you for doing so. Apologies for missing out your most recent messages, but thank you for sticking with us throughout the stream. It's been great having you there, reading and hearing what you think of the game as it progressed, and your thoughts on Mark Noble and the players and everything else. We love reading your comments, so please continue to join us for our live streams and let us know what you're thinking. Rio, hopefully you've got access to the Knees Up Mother Brown match thread. Before we go, can you tell us what the overall view is and the feeling right now with West Ham pretty much assured of their Premier League status?
Obviously, there's a bit of euphoria about the place for a change, and there's a lot of people incredibly happy, which is good to see. I'll make up for Briz. There's 2 posts that have been made tonight in the aftermath of the game, which I really think deserve a bit of attention. We just discussed Mark Noble playing his 500th game for the club. Absolute legend. Burnley Hammers brought up Ben Johnson playing just his 2nd ever game for the club. And I thought Johnson did well. Positionally, he was excellent. A few moments of nerves and inexperience, but this is only the lad's 2nd game. That's only to be expected, isn't it? Considering the importance of the game, I think he should keep his place for the last 2. He can only get better. And I can't agree anymore, I thought we had a couple of dodgy moments, a couple of lax passes, but he grew into the game. I thought he acquitted himself very well. But the best comment for me of the night is by a Profit Marginal, was a pretty renowned poster on the forum. Rather lengthy, this one, so you might want to grab a sandwich and a cup of tea or something and sit in. And he's put some interesting glimpses in this match, perhaps of the future. I saw a display from Diop that showed a lot more grit and concentration than early in the season. Johnson was also excellent in his reading of certain situations and can clearly play with both feet. In all, the defence did well as a unit, only conceding to a very clever finish from Deeney. Sure, Watford put pressure on our box, but Fab had to make few outright saves. What we got an even better preview of is Bowen next season. By reference to some of the great skill and running displayed today, he and Souček are joint signings of the season. Even if you are also factoring in the lot that Pellegrini bought in the last summer. Did we also get an idea of future movement away from the club in the choice of a substitute tonight? I thought Fornell was put in a very good shift, by the way, but the decision to give neither Lanzini nor Anderson any time at all on the pitch might be a signpost for those looking more likely to move away. Antonio, 7 goals within 7 restart matches is a fantastic form. And talking of fantastic, Declan's waited all season to pull that trigger. A goal from the split second he struck the ball. Just imagine the noise would have greeted that, even in the Olympic Stadium. Mm-hmm. And his final word for Mr. 90 Minutes Noble. It meant a lot when that final whistle blew. Nice one, Nobes.
Smashing stuff. Thank you for that, Prof. It's a fantastic post, and absolutely credit due to young Ben Johnson there. We did speak about him a few times during the stream, but it is unfortunately Mark Noble's night, so the spotlight will be upon the skipper. But absolutely, Johnson did a fantastic job. Some other good stuff there. Diop, yes, another. Just coming back to Johnson, I guess the thing there is that a player's had a good game if you haven't really sort of commented on him too much. He's just gone about his business, especially as a fullback. Absolutely full credit to him there. Souček, what a player we've got there. I mean, we've touched on it, in the last few weeks and mod pods. Definitely looks like a real player. Rio, if you can rip over there quickly to the match thread at the forum. Anything else in there that's worth looking at before we bid a farewell to everyone on the stream tonight?
It's actually, I think it's the time of the night. Everyone's gone a little bit quiet. All the happiness has been eked out and things have dried up a little bit. So there's not a lot to report at the moment after that.
All right, good stuff. Well, in that case, we'll leave it there. And it just leaves me to say thank you to everybody for joining us on the stream once again for another episode of Eyes Up Mother Brown. I'm quite enjoying this now. West Ham are winning. It was bloody awful for the first few games that we covered against Wolves and Tottenham. And then, you know, it looked a bit rough against Chelsea. And then, hang on, we scored a goal. And then we beat them. We went to Newcastle. We got a point. We was unlucky, let's be honest. We was a bit unlucky against Burnley, but we turned it around. And we took 3 points, scored 4 goals at Norwich, 3 more goals tonight, 3 more points. It's bloody good fun, this, you know. I'm really enjoying it. And I've got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed the company of the rest of the moderators at Knees Up Mother Brown. We are all on the forum on a regular basis. Come and say hello if you, if you haven't before. It would be great to chat to you on the forum. Keep your comments coming on the match thread, any other thread on the forum. We do love to read them. We all engage, we all join in. So please come along and let us know what you think of the show and the game and West Ham in general. We love to read all your stuff. I'm going to say thank you to the panel, the rest of the team here tonight. Bristol Hammer, thank you very much for keeping an eye on YouTube until such time as it was impossible. Anyway, thanks, buddy.
No problem.
Pinky, thanks once again, as always, for your superb comments. It's always great chatting to you, as you know. Always some really good talking points you bring up. Thanks again, buddy.
No, pleasure. Good fun.
Gnome, great stuff. Thank you for reading the team out and keeping us abreast of everything that's going on from the interviews, and of course all your wisdom and comments and commentary from throughout the evening. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Cheers, guys.
And finally, Rio's been keeping an eye on the forum as well for us tonight. We saw Troy Deeney defeated at last, and doesn't it feel good?
Come on.
West Ham 3, Watford 1. West Ham United are all but safe now from the threat of relegation. 37 points. We are up to 15th in the table. It's heady stuff for the Hammers. We're actually looking up, as Pinky says, we're looking at Palace and Newcastle now. Who knows? Manchester United next. Who's to say we can't get there and get a result? Get a grip of yourself, man. Come on. That's it. What can I say? West Ham 3, Watford 1. And we go again in the summer. For us, we're back on Sunday night for the next Mod Pod. Come and join us. We'll probably be live, maybe Sunday night, maybe Monday morning. But we've got a special guest on this week, who isn't Paul Walker, funnily enough, for a change. We look forward to seeing you again. Take care, and come on, you Irons.
All right.
Hang on.
Go, Irons.